Hi, this is Cazzey Louis Cereghino, and you're listening to Verbal Shenanigans.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic.
Which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Evil shenanigans.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
All right, hello everybody. I'm going to cut right to the chase here. I'm nervous. I am nervous. Mike has that stupid smile on his face. I know a game is coming in this episode, and I'm going to say right off the top, I am on a losing streak, if you will. I have not won a game in quite a while. The games I've produced, I've had to sit and watch Mike win. It feels like it's been a very long time. AI absolutely screwed me 2 weeks ago. Didn't even give me a chance. Made Uncle Paulie's robot into some kind of like Russian assassin robot, and then some dude named Max Moon into like a complete ninja. I'm not happy. I feel like the decks are stacked against me, Mike, and we haven't even started the cast yet.
Well, I'd like to start off by saying I don't think I have a stupid smile. I think I have like at least a C- level kind of smile going on in my face. And it's not completely idiotic, my smile.
Okay, so it's not what's on the face, it's what comes out of the face that is stupid.
Well, I mean, once in a while, like it's a 50-50. It's a coin flip. sometimes it's like deep thoughts on terrorists, and then the next minute zebras are. So
Did you say deep thoughts on terrorists?
Tariffs.
Oh, tariffs. I thought you said terrorists. I'm like, please.
I'm calling back to last week, for gosh sakes.
I was like, please enlighten us on your deep thoughts on terrorists. I would be glad to hear.
They're not all that bad. I mean, they're not that terrorizing. I mean, take the bombs away from their chests, and what do you got?
So in the last 3 weeks, we now have audio clips of you saying like, that people shouldn't have, that you're all for no abortion, female rights. We have clips of you now saying that you terrorists aren't all bad. I can make a great sizzle reel of you.
Well, I mean, considering we're almost 500 episodes of Perlu, of course you can make a pretty decent sizzle roll. I mean,
sizzle roll. That sounds like a dessert. Like you order a sizzle roll. That sounds like.
Well, that's at the Sizzler. I'm
like
old school. No, I would get the salad bar, they'd have some hot appetizers, get the cheap steak, and then Dad, and I ate all my food. Can I get like some sizzle roll with like a little ice cream on the side?
Sizzle roll sounds like the other day when you told us the story of you taking your dad's little motorbike, e-bike, and you got like little pastries while your back was hurting. It sounds like you also got like a sizzle roll for later on, like a little treat at night.
And sometimes you got to treat yourself, Scott. When you have back injuries, you got to treat yourself right. And that's what I do, man. I just gently put the sizzle rolls in my mouth and just let them roll down my tummy.
Oh, God. It took you 4 minutes to gross the audience out again. So,
I mean, I'm working on the Olympic record, and one of these days, in like the first 2 minutes, I'm going to do it, and I'll get to Carl Lewis levels.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Verbal Shenanigans. If you are a new listener, that's Mike. I am Scott. What are we coming off last week? Oh, last week we were coming off the bassist of Nothing More. So if you're into kind of that progressive metal, kind of metal influenced rock, you should go check them out. Before that, we had Jonathan Schultz from BattleBots. And then I forget what the week before was. But anyway, so if you're tuning in, that's kind of what we do here. We kind of bring on some interesting guests, and then we listen to the stupidity of me and Mike kind of unravel for the other 60 minutes of the episode.
Brian Seeley,
ethical hacker who wiretapped the FBI. Casual things. Yeah. But I would be remiss if we didn't introduce, coming back to the show today. We have my good friend Harry here. You may have heard him on the recent Halloween episode, the recent Christmas episode. So we needed a third mic. We got tired of talking to just each other.
Mike.
Yeah. So we figured we'd bring Harry. Harry, welcome back to Verbal Shenanigans podcast.
Very glad to be back. Wanted to say hello to the audience because I realized I would show up on both shows and didn't say hello. And I think that was very rude. So I want to make things right.
Well, it's just like saying hi to yourself anyway. There's like 4 of you out
that
there.
was the audience and all. I mean, we could probably get Groovy Joan on the phone so you can say hi to her directly. But
now, Mike, without completely foreshadowing the other half of the episode, why did you bring Harry on the episode here? Why is this jerk off back again?
Well, Scott, you were crying about I never win games and stuff like that. So I had to create some kind of competition for you. Okay. And later on tonight, we're going to have the road to VerbaMania, Scott.
Whoa. Yeah, so yeah. I'm guessing this is wrestling themed.
Oh, I should have done that. That would have made more sense. Yeah. I just made the name and all. It's just multiple choice random questions about terrorists. But yeah, Scott, since WrestleMania is coming up, by the time this is up, and we will be the week of WrestleMania, that weekend, Easter weekend. Why worry about Christ when you have professional wrestling all weekend? So I made myself a little game for both of you, a little competition. Now, I know Harry kind of knows wrestling and Scott kind of not.
No. Let me interrupt here. Harry doesn't just kind of know wrestling. We'll be in like casual conversation with friends, and he'll be like, "Yeah, that's just like WCW pay-per-view from 1994, where Ric Flair grunted in the camera on that." Like he has this strange, almost photographic wrestling type memory. AKA, he's been a loser for a very long time. Is that accurate, Harry?
You know, it's pretty accurate because I had to add on that there was a question asked during the Halloween special about the scary moment from that Halloween Havoc. And I forgot to mention that in my response about how a lot of people who had purchased the pay-per-view actually had their feed cut because a lot of suppliers had cut off because the show ran too long for a pay-per-view. So a lot of them probably felt, scared to the gills, so to speak. I forgot to mention that in my answer.
You see what I mean, people? That's exactly what I mean. Normal conversation. Oh God! Now this idiot has something to say on the. This is going to become. I'm just going to leave. Just going to let you two have your own little wrestling orgy session here, and I'm just going to come back at the end to say, "Life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back." How's that sound?
Well, I apologize. What I was going to say is, if you recall, when I gave you a little wrestling quiz before, when you became Bare Knuckle Brennan.
How could I forget?
Yes. There was a question I put out there about where one of the possible answers was, was there ever amputee at WrestleMania? And it was a different answer. And Harry actually chimed me after the episode to say, now, technically, the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, and legend has it that he did have his foot amputated before going into the World Wrestling Federation, where I go, okay, we're in a gray area. He never truly came out and said it happened, so by rule, I can say my question I gave to you was correct.
Okay, audience, my sole role tonight is to keep the balance in this room, because it can go off. I could see this tilting into, a very wrestling heavy, well, that happened and blah, 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 because these two, they have this knowledge and this passion for this thing. I have very limited, like, normal knowledge, like when kids are supposed to watch it. You guys, you're going on 40 years of wrestling knowledge.
Give or take, I would say.
I'm going to keep the balance here, but since we are kind of wrestling themed today, I did want to tell a story. Okay, before we get into the deep cuts of whatever you have planned over there. Now, I've told the story before on the podcast, but Mike, it's probably like the stories we've been having you tell lately. It's probably been 8-9 years since I've told this story, so I think I'm going to bring it back because it is wrestling thing, and I'm curious if Harry's even heard this one. So. Many moons ago, my brother
moons ago.
Oh, God. It's going to be a long night. I'm just looking down to see how many beers I have to make sure I can get through this night. years ago, my brother was getting married, and he's still married. And I was his best man along with his friend Shobin. Okay. So he had a 2 best man thing. So we were in charge of planning his bachelor party. Okay. Now, I'm not like, the typical bachelor party guy, like the strippers and strip club, like gambling. I don't know. Like, and neither did his friends didn't seem too much into that either. So we're sitting there spitballing one day and we're like, what do we do? We're like, what is Tim like? We're like, oh, he likes the Smashing Pumpkins. You can't throw a Smashing Pumpkins themed bachelor party. That'd be really weird.
That would be great. And all if you got the lead singer from Smashing Pumpkins and the whole party was just about you screaming how terrible he is.
Well, related to wrestling, he does own
the NWA.
The NWA, yeah, yes. The rap group. He owns the rap group NWA.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. So,
and he's a big supporter of the Klan, but continue.
Yeah. He's also a giant tool, but that goes with it. So Billy Corgan.
And Bill Burr's half brother, apparently.
Yeah, it is possible. I'm a believer in that. So we're like, I don't know. Everybody loves like 80s wrestling, like that's what we all grew up on. And so I start spitballing. I'm like, what if we throw him an 80s wrestler themed bachelor party? Now, Harry, are you familiar with this story at all?
You have told the story once, but I think at the time when you told it, I was 5 beers in, so I'm a little sketchy on the full details.
Okay, good.
I'm putting it this way. Somebody would have to remember episode 46 to know this story.
Okay.
That's how long ago it was.
So, yeah, no one remembers. Okay. So the idea was that we were going to rent a house in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, which those of you listening from other states, it's a beach town. It's a beach town. And so we found a house. Now, let me preface this story that this was all pre, early days of the internet. Like there wasn't texting. There wasn't internet on the phone really, like very limited. So things were a lot harder to find. Like Airbnb wasn't really a thing. So you really had to like call like realtors to rent houses. Like it was a big process. So we rented the house and the goal was to get my brother there. And then all his friends and some family would be dressed as different 80s wrestlers. Okay. Mm-hmm. So naturally, me and his best man, we said we had to come up with something that was like a together. We were a tag team. So naturally, Harry, we went with Legion of Doom. I believe I was Hawk and he was Animal, or vice versa. But we went so far as to we got the face paint. We bought shoulder pads, like kids' shoulder pads, and then they like tinfoil spikes on them. We made Hawk and Animal pants where we like ironed on red duct tape. Like we looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. We looked pretty good. So other characters that were there, we had a Jake the Snake. We had a Bret the Hitman Hart. We had the Ultimate Warrior, who was this guy that was definitely just drunk all night and would not stop running around as the Ultimate Warrior. Like he wouldn't drop the character. We had Bret Hart. We had Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We had a whole cast of characters. My dad and my uncles were referees. They had a referee. We got them involved. And the goal was when Tim showed up, my brother Tim showed up, to have the house like he had no clue what he was walking into. We put strobe lights shooting out the window. So he just arrives at a blinking house. Like it's just blinking. All of us are upstairs. Okay. Now we have to dress Tim up. Now, Harry, if you were to take a guess, he's the bachelor. He's the guy getting married. What wrestler do you make your brother into?
Well, if you guys were going for an 80s themed WF wrestling party, he has to be Hulk Hogan in this case.
Exactly. So during the week,
I would have been Miss Elizabeth, but continue.
Now, we did have a Macho Man too. Now remember, this is pre-Amazon where I can go get a Hulk Hogan costume to my house by tomorrow. Okay. I went out and pieced together this Hulk Hogan. I got the Hulkamania shirt somewhere online. I went and bought yellow cheerleading shorts. Like he was supposed to look ridiculous. Okay. Then the hair was when it got real interesting. I was like, how do I get Hulk Hogan hair? You know, he has that skullet thing going on. So I ordered a Benjamin Franklin wig and spray painted the hair yellow. Okay. Then for his boots, you ever see those like plastic boots that like people who work with like hazardous chemicals put over their shoes? So I got them too. Now we put them all in a bag. Okay. His friend, who was Jake the Snake, was going to have all the clothing items in the bag that he was going to have to change into. So my brother arrives. We're all upstairs. We have as many of the theme songs loaded on the burned CD, ready to play. So he comes down, you know, Legion of Doom comes down, Bret Hart comes down. We all come down, and then we blindfold my brother. And his one friend happened to have really long hair, and he dressed as Rick Rude, and literally had my brother's face printed on his crotch, which I remember was like a thing that Rick Rude did, which so good attention.
Thing we all did back then, you know.
Why? Who'd you put on your crotch?
Yeah, like when my best friends are around, I'm like, all right, let me break out the buddy's crotch pants, okay?
You had a friend over, you just had your friend's crotch.
Oh, I had every time it's like, Mom, I made a friend, called the tailor.
This is why you had imaginary friends by, you know, a certain age.
Well, that's how it started and all. With Woody Woodpecker on my crotch, but continue, Scott.
So we blindfold him. Now he has really long hair, and we put on song, and he's like twirling his hair in front of him. So my brother thinks this is a stripper, you know, like, you know, when we all gather around, we open his eye, and his friend is Rick Rude, just like gyrating in his face. And the Jake the Snake character hands him the bag. And in the bag is this Hulk Hogan outfit. Okay. Now we have this party where, you know, everybody's bomb. My uncle's like, one time I go to take the recycling out. My uncle is like, I see this like ember like far away. I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's my uncle with a cigar, like limping from the backyard. He's like, like hiccuping. Like, I'm like, hey, Uncle John. He's like dressed in a referee outfit. Now, meanwhile, I'm taking the recycling out, and there's houses to the left and right of me in a full Hawk outfit, nowhere near Halloween or anything. So, like, someone looks out, they just see this man in shoulder pads and makeup, and so everyone gets a great time. I won't go into all the details of that, but I didn't think just the wrestling party was enough. Okay. So I wanted, you know, you got to find a good way to embarrass the Bachelor. Okay. Mm-hmm. You know, it doesn't, you know, whether it's bring him on stage at a strip club, whether it's do something funny to him, whatever it is. So I decided, so first we were like, I want to wake him up with something. Okay. So naturally, my first thought is, you know, like maybe let's get a stripper. I'm like, yeah, it's not. I'm like, maybe let's get a midget stripper. I'm like, ha, we're onto something here. Now, I prefaced the story that this was pre-internet days. Right now, Mike, I'm pretty sure you could look up midgets. It's probably little people strippers now.
Yeah, let's be politically correct, Scott. Yeah. Come on now.
You could probably look up midget stripper in Douglasville, Georgia. And you might have a good chance of finding one pretty quickly. Okay. You don't have to look that up, Mike, but you know,
I mean, one should hope, but continue.
So I'm looking all over the place. I'm like calling looking for numbers for like entertainment and like calling these sleazy companies. And they're like, I'm looking for a midget stripper. And finally I get hold of one. They're like, oh, we got them. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to do a wake up call. So he's like, yeah, you know, he's like, you want a female stripper? I'm like, yeah, of course. And he's like, well, is this a joke or is this like a serious thing? I'm like, oh, no, this is definitely like a joke. And he's like, he's like, they don't really like that. Like, they're not really into that. I'm like, oh, and he's like, they're really expensive. Like, say, I don't know, maybe they were like, they're $500, something like that. Maybe something, but I'm like, oof, that's steep. And then he's like, have you thought about a male midget stripper? I'm like, no, but carry on. You know, he's like, we got this guy. He'll dress in drag and wake him up. And I'm like, this is even better than, this is great. And he's like, yeah, he's like 175. I'm like, sold, book the midget male stripper.
Out of curiosity, you think like he saw the landscape and it's like all these female little people strippers are charging thousands on nights and stuff like that, where he sat back and went, I can take half.
There's a market.
Just like build my portfolio from this. This is my area.
There's always someone who comes in and undercuts and finds a way, so.
Now, Scott, before you go further, I have a question myself.
Of course.
This was back in the day when you had to call around to rent the house. Was it the same number you rented the house with, or was it a totally different number?
No, totally different services. It wasn't like the midget stripper house.
Was it 1-800 Girls, out of curiosity, that you had to call for this?
That might have been where my starting point was. But so, I book him, and booking back then meant like, yeah, I'll see you at 7:30 on whatever Saturday morning. And, my goal was thinking we're going to be up really late. My brother's going to be hammered. What's funnier than a midget waking him up? Okay. So morning comes. It is Christmas morning for me. I am up at 5:30, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I probably had a million drinks the night before. It did not matter. Nothing was keeping me down. And I'm like, going around the house, and there's people sleeping on couches, people sleeping but my brother had the master bedroom, and apparently he like puked in a dresser drawer, typical bachelor party stuff. So I'm waking everyone up. I'm like, guys, the moment's coming, trying to get everybody ready, So, but I'm like nervous. Is this guy or guy girl thing even going to show up? And sure enough, on time, this little tinted out like Honda Civic rolls up, and this like Puerto Rican guy gets out. I'm like, oh man. But he's like, he comes up to me, he's like, hey, blah 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 from whatever services. I'm like, oh hi. I'm like, so where's the where's the midget at? And he's like, oh, he's in there changing. And sure enough, I kind of like look into the car, and I do see like the shadows of someone changing and moving. So I'm like, all right.
I was hoping it was something like Amazon, where it's like, well, we delivered it, and you're just searching around the house for the little person getting dressed to dance for your brother.
So I'm guessing this was his handler, like all strippers and things have some kind of pimp or handler, like muscle, Sure enough, the car door opens, and out comes my my little princess with full 5 o'clock shadow, blonde wig, orange like dress. And I'm like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Do you know the joy of waking up your father to tell him that we're going to go watch this midget jump on my brother? Like the family bonding moment here was just surreal.
I just hoping you had like long lost cousins who would come out for this and all. It's like, we don't talk to that side of the family anymore, but for transsexual midget dancer, all right, we'll make amends.
I can attest to the studio audience that I have met Scott's father, and nothing about this would surprises me at all. I wish I was there. That's my regret.
So, moment comes. I get everyone, and everything is happening perfectly. Tim is still out cold, sleeping. Everyone's gathered around the bed, and here he comes in. He's got a little boom box, and he just plays Ice Ice Baby. And sure enough, jumps onto the bed and begins to straddle my brother. And like, picture perfectly, my brother starts to slowly, roll and start to wake up. And he like opens the covers. He's like, his initial reaction is like, oh, and he like puts the covers down, and the guy's like, come on baby, and we're all dying. And sure enough, my brother's like horrified, like, oh God, beautiful moment. And then like, we all take pictures around the bed with my brother in the bed, and like us pointing at him, and the midget guy giving thumbs up. It is as beautiful as you can plan it in your head. It was even more beautiful. Like the sheer shock on his face, and like all I remember him being like, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell is this? Like, meanwhile, he's still in hot pants from cheerleading shorts and a Hulk Hogan shirt. I mean, it is wonderful. Okay.
Now, what kind of amount of time did you have with the dancer out of curiosity?
Now you're segueing to the next small part of the story.
Oh, okay.
So it's a prank. You want 15 minutes of this guy. Okay. Yeah. So we wrap it up. Everyone has a laugh and come out. And then the guy's like, so do you want like anything else? We could hang for a while. I'm like, no. Like here, like I think they wanted to stay at the party for like another couple hours. I think I had him for like 2 hours or 3 hours. Like I'm kind of regretting, like maybe we should have done some other things with him, like taking him. But it was very strange. The pimp and the midget here definitely like didn't want to just like get back in the car and go home to God knows where they were from.
Did you at least feed these gentlemen, for God's sakes? No, I mean, I could just imagine all of you like getting into a minivan, no pun intended, and heading down to like a Waffle House with like your midget stripper and just like rewarding him. It's like, we don't need any more dancing, but you can get a moon over my hammy.
I'm more concerned they didn't get all pictures together because you had them for 2 hours, so you had time to get some clicks in, even on like the phones back in the day.
We have pictures. We have lots of pictures. I will have to dig them up, hopefully, for this when this episode comes out. Now, to end this little story, which to me, it's like there's a couple moments in my life that I'm proud of, like my 2 children, like couple things in this podcast along the way, maybe winning a spelling bee or 2 in first and second grade. But this is right up there. This is top 5 moment, like maybe in my life, like for how well this went. Now, the guy gives us like cards and stuff like that, like business cards. Like, hey, you want to, makes sense. You don't want to use me for a party again? Because I'm assuming he does multiple midget skills, like maybe bowling, or maybe he, does all those little events that you see.
Maybe somebody can toss him.
Yeah, exactly. How great would it be all these years later if I found that guy and brought him on the podcast?
That'd be better than John Walsh. Okay?
That would be all-time greatest episode. Now, there is a chance because years later, possibly 5 years ago. I'm trying not to exaggerate the story. Okay, so maybe my brother's been married 15 years, maybe 5 years ago. We get together at a maybe a family party or barbecue, talk, the story comes back up. We're all laughing, blah, 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 blah. And like, man, I was like, you remember that guy? And I was telling the story of trying to contact him. And I was like, yeah, you hand that card. And my dad chimes in. He goes, oh yeah, I have the card. And he goes into his wallet, not some dresser drawer, not his junk drawer, not his special box that he has memories in, his physical wallet, and pulls out said midget stripper card like he is a frequent user of this man. Like he calls this. It blew my mind apart that this was a thing, is still somewhere existing in this world.
Now, did the card have like holes in it? Like after 10 dances, you get a free one,
like a punch.
Yeah, some places get you a free coffee. Maybe you get a free midget dance.
I don't know, but it gave me all these questions. I'm like, Dad, why do you still have this? 2, does my dad like secretly call midget strippers on the side? Like, what is going on here? But just a brilliant moment in my life. And now I'm curious. Now it's been 5 years. I'm going to have to ask my dad this after telling the story. Does the card still exist? Just like we need to know if the religious screen door exists, I need to know if my dad still has that card somewhere.
Yeah, I would like to know if there were situations where your mom's like, hey, I'm coming home early, and he just awkwardly screamed, no, don't do that, for any reason. And she's like, why is there music in the background? And don't ask about my life. Do you hear me?
But yeah, I mean, I think this happening and coming together pre like major internet days is what makes it even more beautiful. Because I feel like we could put that together in 2 days now, but back then it was everything. Like we were going to Sports Authority. We went to like Michael's or one of the craft shops to figure out what styrofoam cones where I'm spray painting like now I could just go on like Amazon and be like hawk and animal shoulder pads. You couldn't just go in the store and find those,
No.
So I think that's kind of the beauty of it, is putting it all together in that era.
Like when you're doing homework with your children and they're using Chat GPT to get the answers, that's when you like take away their phones and like, I need to sit you children down and tell you a story of how your father didn't have all these fancy phones, didn't have this crazy internet, and he set this all up for your uncle. And then see if they have any follow-up questions.
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea for a show. Like you talk about like events that you put together and then see kids try to redo that like 30 years later or whatever it is and see how they do have to go at it.
I would like to know if Shay has the capability to get a midget stripper. And then
I want to know if your dad still has the card. That's where I'm still at.
I will do some investigating for the audience moving forward. Mike, real quick before we kind of move the show forward to our guest portion of the show, if you were going to the wrestler theme party, who would be your wrestler of choice that you were going to dress up? And I'm also sending you guys a little picture of this from back in the day.
I was a hot rod, Roddy Piper kid growing up. I was the one kid where all the kids were Hulkamaniacs. I was rooting for Roddy to win one of these WrestleManias and grab the belt. So I totally think I would be the hot Scot at the party.
Harry?
As much as I would have loved to try to pull Bret the Hitman Hart off, I think I would have ended up being Strike Force Tito Santana.
Ooh.
No, you could have been the brown Hitman. It could have been a different take on it,
My hair was never that long to pull it off, so I think I could have pulled off Tito better.
You are into comics and wrestling, and you could have been like the multiverse version of Bret Hart,
Yeah. Just grease your hair, wear pink, and complain about Bill Goldberg. That's all you need to do.
Oh, I do that now, so it's great.
Well, before we completely lose our audience here, or non-wrestling fans, Mike, who do we got on the show tonight?
Well, everyone, when we were coming up with tonight's episode, Scott told me, Burlew, go out and get a wrestler. Do whatever it takes. And I told Scott wrestlers generally want money, and Scott said, Burlew, get something else involving wrestling. Do whatever it takes. So tonight we are talking with actor, writer, musician, and stuntman Cazzey Cereghino on this podcast. Now, you may have seen him in his commercials. He was in a Doritos Super Bowl ad where he was wearing a wedding dress. He was the Capital One Viking. You may have seen him on television, such as a great role in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Finally, you may have seen him doing stunts and playing Bruiser Brody in the 2023 film The Iron Claw. So, ladies and gentlemen, this counts as a wrestling guest. Let's bring Cazzy on the cast.
Am I on?
Yes, you are, sir.
All right.
I'm afraid of women. That's a great shirt right there.
That was a gift from my 14-year-old nephew. Actually, I guess he was 15 when he gave it to me. So I guess he's turned 16 last week. I don't know. I'm way off. He's got the same one.
Nice little uncle nephew bonding. You guys wear your.
I saw him wearing it one day. I'm like, wow, that's a great shirt. And he goes, you want one? I'm like, a couple days later, he goes, here, Uncle Kaz, I got you a gift. I opened it up. I'm like, oh man, you were kidding.
Well, Cazzey Cereghino, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. I'm Mike and Scott right here. Great to have you on.
Appreciate it.
First thing I want to start off with, I noticed like you're growing up, you were like on the farm life and all. The family had a farm for many years and all. I'm kind of curious with that kind of farm life, you being like into acting and writing and stuff like that. Was that a thing that's easy to come up in the family? Were they like, oh, this is a farm family, you do that? Or is it just live your life, my friend?
Believe it or not, I very, very seldomly worked on the farm. My first job was actually selling vegetables from the farm. So, when I was growing up, my great grandfather had already passed away. He's the one who started the farm. but my when I was a little kid, my grandfather and my great uncle, kind of one was the farming side, and the other one was the sales side. And my grandfather being the sales side, we got more into sales where my brothers and I would go pick vegetables, and then we'd pay my great uncle or pay my uncles, 10 cents on the dollar. And then we'd have our wagon, and then we'd go around in the neighborhood. We'd sell fresh vegetables. Whereas, everyone else is selling candy or Girl Scout cookies. We'd come to your door and be like, hey, we got fresh vegetables we just picked an hour ago. You want to buy those? The only downside was we had to eat everything we didn't sell. And, so I don't know about you, but I mean, growing up for me, like I'd even in high school, I'd opened up my lunch sack that my mom would pack me, and it was wonderful. I look at it now, I'm like, she sent me these nice love letters all the time, but I'd open it up and everybody would be like, hey, you want to trade? I got ding dongs, I got Doritos, I got Twinkies. And I'd be like, I got a bag of onions and red radishes. What do you want? Anything, anybody, any takers? I got white radishes too. Anybody want one of those? So
that must have developed your sales pitch for particular vegetables. Like, what was the vegetable you feel like you could sell to anybody door to door?
I wasn't a good salesman. I actually, believe it or not, and I go back to that whole idea of we had to eat everything we didn't sell. My older brother was the genius in that, because we always had a whole bunch of leftovers and we had to eat them. And so my older brother got this idea. He's like, we've already developed this, this reputation with all the people we sell to in the neighborhood. Let's go do pre-orders. So we did. We went around and took pre-orders, how much everybody wanted of the leaf lettuce, of the parsley, of the kale, of the spinach, and everything. And then we'd come back and we'd deliver what they ordered. So we had no leftovers.
That's pretty advanced for a kid. Right
Mom and Dad eventually caught on. They're like, well, you're still going to have to go get more because you need to eat your vegetables.
We got to really push a squash this month.
Exactly. Yep.
So and for what I see, you basically mostly started your life and all being a writer, being a musician. What kind of got you into these kind of things? As in, like, were you just the naturally artistic type, or in school, or did you just like pick up a guitar one day and said, "This is fun"?
I don't know if I was naturally artistic in growing up, but again, my family was very sports minded mostly. I mean, all my cousins, all my aunts, my uncles, my parents, grandparents, great uncles, great aunts, they were all in various different sports. So I didn't do a lot of artistic stuff growing up, although I wanted to play the drums when I was younger. And my mother and my grandmother said, if you want to play the drums, then you have to learn how to read music, which means you have to learn how to play the piano. And I was like, playing the piano, that was as bad as eating vegetables. Like,
smartest thing ever for a musician.
It was smart. I look at it now as an adult. You're right, Scott. It was very smart for my grandma and my mom. But, to try and tell that to a kid, you're just like, again, pulling teeth. So when I actually was given a guitar when I got older, when I started thinking I could play an instrument that I could play like my favorite rock songs on, popular songs, I was really happy that I had the background in learning how to read music, because then I was able to teach myself 16, 17, 18 other instruments, just because I already knew how, to read music theory and understand music. And that's how I got into music kind of originally. Was just in college. I had a night job. I was, doing the graveyard shift, graveyard security at a gym. I can do an hour or two maybe of my homework. After that, I have to stay awake for the other 5 or 6 hours until the morning shift person comes in. So I would drag that guitar in there and I just start learning how to play songs. And then one by one, I started dragging other instruments in there and learning how to play. And so I got in the music industry far before I ever got into writing books or got into acting. That was what came first.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you later on, like, we're going to touch on a whole bunch of different things here, whether it's acting, music, writing, whatever it is. I was just curious what you consider, like, if you were like, who is Cazzy, like what you consider yourself first? Like, is it a musician? Is it an actor? Like, what do you see yourself as when you look in the mirror?
Well, now it's definitely acting. I mean, acting is what pays my bills.
Yep.
My bread and butter comes from doing dress up and make believe. But, but I still do write books and I still do play music. But at this point, they're for fun.
Yeah.
The publishing industry, both for music and for books, as well as the music industry, is very changed, and in a lot of regards, it's dying.
Yep.
You want to be a musician at this point, it's like you're making your money off touring and doing live shows.
Yep.
Writing books, I mean, forget about it. I mean, people can, you can go into an airport now. You walk around and there used to be bookstore. You walk in there now and there's hardly anything to read. Everybody's got their phone and they're looking down on it. And if people do, get a book, like for example, my royalty percentage hasn't changed on book sales. It used to be, if you getting, let's say 12%. Well, if you sell a paperback for $10, that's $1.20. You sell a hardcover for $20, you make $2.40. Well, nowadays, if you do find people who read, they're not just scrolling and looking at their phone. If you find people who read, a lot of them get the downloads. And the downloads a lot of times give you the book for 30 days for free. Sure. Well, you can finish a book in 30 days. I mean, if you do keep it over the 30 days, you can download it for 79 cents. Well, if I'm still getting 12% on a 79-cent sale, you get 8 cents. I guess a lot of books to make it. I mean, I get these royalty checks now for my books, and I'm like, why'd you even waste the time sending me this check? It's less than the stamp you sent it for.
Well, you got to stop bragging over there, man. I mean, but I'm curious. Like, I read on your Wikipedia, and I don't, Wikipedia could give or take, but is it true that you were dressing as presidents going to school? Like, you just continued?
When I was a little kid, yeah. Yeah, for whatever reason, I got very much into studying the presidents when I was in second grade. I had a couple books that I read forwards and backwards, and I got in so much into presidents that, I did. I'd go to school, and the teacher would have me come up in front of the room and tell the kid, like, the list of all, at the time there was 40, because Ronald Reagan was president when I was, growing up, and I could list all 40, but then I could tell the class, 5, 10, 15 different facts about every single president as I went down the list. So then, a couple times I dressed up as presidents coming to school, and the Oregonian, which was the state newspaper at the time, came and did an interview with me when I was 7, I think, and put it in the state newspaper about this weird kid that, knew all about presidents. And I thought, I want to be the president someday. And then I got into school government and into politics, and I realized that politics is definitely not something I want to be any part of.
How deep did you go? Were you like Daniel Day-Lewis? Were you like, living as the president on the side? Did you come in as Taft one day? Did you have a fat
Not a method actor. Yeah. Method actors are always interesting to work with, and you get on set, and they can't come out of character when you yell cut, and you're just like, oh my goodness, how do I talk to this person? Matter of fact, one of the first projects I ever worked on as an actor, I had to work with a method actor, and I didn't know this person was a method actor.
Okay.
But this is a movie where he was supposed to be playing a very reclusive, antisocial, angry, person. So first day I see him on set, I'm like, hi, how are you? Oh my goodness. He just gave me this burning death stare, and he walked away. I was like, well, that was kind of weird. I'm standing here at the craft service table getting some food, and I tried to say hi, and he just acted like I was the biggest jerk in the world. Well, one of the PAs comes over later and says, you're not supposed to talk to him that way. I'm like, talk to him what way? I said hello. And they're like, but he doesn't want anybody talking to him. I'm like, all right, well, that's weird. Fast forward like 2 or 3 years, one of my roommates, when I'd moved down to LA, I built quadruple bunk beds to be able to save money, because LA is expensive, and when you're 21, 22 years old, I built 4 levels of bunk beds so we could have a 1 bedroom and split it 4 ways.
Jeez.
And nice. One of my roommates was working on a movie, doing some background work with this same actor. And my roommate keeps coming home every day going, oh my gosh, he is so funny. He walks around the set and he's just laughing and talking up with everybody. And you're like, and I was just like, what? Are you sure we're talking about the same person? And then I found out later on, like, he's a method actor. And that movie that my roommate was working on was a comedy. And of course, he was supposed to be very, comedic. So, yeah, I'm not a method actor. When they yell cut, I'm like, okay, I'm back to Cazzy.
Now, when you first started, for what I've read up and all, like, you were very like clean cut and like doing like modeling stuff or whatever. When was the sense you said, all right, let me make my own look and all grow out the beard and stuff like that?
It was actually, I can credit that to Mickey Freiberg. He was my literary agent, the guy that sold, first guy to sell my books. When I started interning at Acme, at the time, my talent agency was Acme, and they were across the board. I really tried to get in the door with them to get my books sold through the literary agent. Ironically, again, like you just brought up, I was clean shaven. I had short cropped hair. I was fit. I had abs, all the, fun stuff. A guy comes to Hollywood thinking I'm going to, blow the socks off everybody. And I went in the door. trying to get my book sold. And the print department actually came over first and said, this is after working there for a couple of months. You got a great look. We'd really like to start pitching you on some stuff. And I'm like, I'm not a model. I came here to try and sell my books. They're like, you get paid to have people take pictures of you. All right, sure. And then the commercial department, followed suit a little while later. Love to be able to submit you on stuff if you're interested. I'm not really an actor, but okay. Then the theatrical department and so on and so forth. The only department that obviously wasn't coming forward was the literary department. Mickey kept saying, he had reasons. And his big thing was like, I can't sell your stuff because you don't have a name. I mean, look at all my other clients. And he'd list off all these other big names, A-list celebrities and people he was representing. He's like, these guys can write garbage and I can sell it because their name. You are a nobody, even if you write good stuff. But he had this idea. He's like, I want you to go out and I want you to start adventuring. So he was sitting down with me at lunch one day and he's like, all right, tell me what you got. And I was like, I can go do a missionary trip in Africa and I can write a book about that, or I can go run with the bulls in Pamplona and write a book about that. He's like, no. Hemingway already wrote a book about running with the bulls. I got a better idea. I want you to get on a commercial fishing vessel in Alaska and write about it. I've got an idea for a TV show and I want to try and pitch it, but I want you to go up there and write about it first. Go live it. And I was like, well, don't I need to know somebody? I mean, I can't just show up and be like, hi, can I get on your boat? No, I got that taken care of. And he did. So I did. I went and did a season of commercial fishing in Alaska, and you're out to sea for 6 to 8 weeks. When we're out there working, the last thing on your mind is mannequinning yourself because you're with, 8, 9, 10 other dudes on your crew. It's like, nobody cares what you look like. You all smell like, raw fish and probably BO because we shower once a month, maybe. Showering is, again, like a luxury, like sleeping. It's like if we get really busy and you're working 21, 22 hours a day, you might get to sleep an hour. The last thing on your mind is like, I'm going to take a half an hour of that hour to go take a shower. Nobody cares. So I came back after, being up in Alaska, working on a commercial fishing crew, and I had gotten disheveled. And again, I'm going to auditions before this, as a clean shaven fit guy, walking into rooms and looking around going, there's 600 other dudes in here that look just like me, that are all fit, clean shaven guys with abs in Hollywood. I don't look any different than any of them. What makes me stand out? Nothing. Well, I came back and I was disheveled. I had the beard. My hair was long. And Mickey was like, this is great. You got to keep this look because I want to take you to the pitch meetings and try and, pitch this show. And now you look like a grizzled fisherman. So you got to keep this look. Well, of course, the other talent agents are like, he can't keep that look. He looks like a homeless guy. And he doesn't look like any of his headshots. So Mickey really was like, please let him keep it for a while. So they were like, fine, if you're going to keep this look, then get some headshots with it. And all of a sudden I started working. Huh. I can't go out. I couldn't for that, from that point forward, I couldn't go out for dads. I couldn't go out for, salesmen. I couldn't go out for any fitness modeling jobs anymore. But all of the barbarians, all the biblical characters, the lumberjacks, the warriors, the bikers, all of a sudden I start walking in the room. It's like, I can't get as many auditions, but the ones that I did get, my booking ratio went way up. So it started working. And so then after that, it's like, what's the old saying? If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's how, yes, I went from a fit, clean shaven guy to the last 20 years. I have not shaved. Matter of fact, it's all pinned up right now. It's all bobby pinned. It comes all out here when I let it out.
Nice.
Now, you go through your your resume and you've done a lot of things from commercials to being in Mr. Holland's Opus to Always Sunny to which we'll get to in a minute. But I'm curious, did the transition to your look start to open like your mind up to a lot of the things that you were going to, because you seem very adventurous as far as some of the things you've chosen to do?
Probably actually did the opposite.
Really?
It probably closed down a lot more avenues. However, the avenues that did open up, yes, I didn't have before. You're right. Some of the characters that I couldn't have done before, yes, I could do then once I changed the look. However, it closed the door to a lot more of them. Again, like we said in the last question, was that my booking ratio went way up, but my amount of things I could audition for or submit for went way down. Because, when you're more a generalistic, looking normal type of conservative cut type of person, you have a much wider range of stuff you can fit.
Right.
My like my manager Karen always says to me, she's like, you're very unique. You're kind of almost like an eclectic look. She's like, I can't submit you for a lot of stuff. It's like a big portion of the industry is accepting your niche. I mean, and there's a lot of people that fight that and they're like, oh, I can do this. I'm like, yeah, you can. But from the standpoint of casting, they're trying to get what production or the agency or the client or whoever, if it's a commercial, a TV show, a movie, they're trying to get what they're asking for. Casting's going in there with the idea in mind that, like, with most roles, unless you can expand on the role, if it's a movie, if you're a reoccurring or a regular in a TV show and you can expand further on the character, that's one thing. But you're talking about, like, for something shorter, when your character is small, commercials that are 30 seconds long, or a TV show that you're only in for 5 minutes, casting really has to get something that when you walk in the door, boom, people recognize right away. Like if I'm going into audition and it's for a lumberjack, I'm wearing a red flannel shirt, I'm wearing my suspenders, I've got a stocking cap and an axe over my shoulder and knee-high boots. I walk in the door and people are like, that's a lumberjack.
Right.
And it's accepting the niche, because there's a lot of times actors will look at stuff and they'll be like, I could play that. Well, how come I didn't get called in for that? How come you're not letting me read for that? It's like, because unfortunately, Hollywood is the one industry in the world where it's like, like no other job you can go into an interview and they're like, we can't hire you because you're too tall, you're too short, you're too, you're too pale, you're too fat. I mean, if you went into a job interview and they're like, we're not going to hire you because you're overweight, or we don't like your voice, it doesn't match with what we're looking for. You're like, I can totally sue you.
On the flip side, have you ever been asked to change your look now for different roles, and you're kind of like, really? Yeah.
It's pretty rare, because again, casting directors now have known me with this look for 20 years. Sure. But it does come up. As a matter of fact, it came up this last month where I booked a job, and I went into the audition and they're like, would you be willing to shave? No. Then I went to the callback with the producer and the director in the room. Would you be willing to shave? No. Wow. Then I got put on a veil and they're like, we really would like to book Cazzy. They're telling my agent this. We really would like to book Cazzy, but we'd be curious if he'd be willing to shave. At least just trim it till we make his beard really short and clean. And my agent's like, I'll ask him again. And they came and asked me, like, again, casting directors have known me with this look for 20 years. If I were to change it up for your one role, it has to be really worthwhile for that.
Sure.
Yeah. Because all of my reels, all of my headshots, all of the minds of all these casting directors know you with a certain look. And then if you go change it up, I mean, I've got a couple buddies in the industry that are, not to mention their names, but they're pretty well up in the industry. They're well known. And, they've come to me in one case, one was of like 430 pounds. He cut down to like 200 pounds, and he told me, Cazzy, I didn't book a single role for 4.5 years. Because I was known as the big, obese, happy-go-lucky guy. He goes, then I got fit. I got healthy. I was going to elongate my life, and every part of my life was better, with the exception of the fact that I couldn't work anymore. I'd walk into casting offices, and they'd be like, oh, hey, good to see you. You look great, but you don't really quite match what we're looking for anymore. We'll keep you in mind for something else.
Yeah. Double-edged sword. Yeah.
It is a double-edged sword. Now, so, I turned the role down because I'm just like, I can't, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change my look for one role unless it's really, really worthwhile. Because then you're going to, you cut your nose, what do they say? Cut your nose off, spite your face.
Yeah. And one of the bigger roles you got with your look, is playing Bruiser Brody in the Iron Claw. Yeah. Now, I know you've done a ton of stunt work before. I'm kind of curious, when you do stunt work, is that easy to transition to doing like the wrestling stuff on the movie, or is it just a totally different art that doesn't compare?
Well, I mean, there's a big difference between being a wrestler and being a stuntman who's doing wrestling. If you're a wrestler, there's no cut. They've got live shows going on where they're going through the choreography, they're going through the moves and so forth. And if something goes wrong, show goes on. You just keep going until, you play it off. In my line of work, if something goes wrong, they yell cut. And hopefully before something goes wrong, the stunt coordinators are able to spot it and say, hey, let's stop this before anything goes awry. So it's different, but it's also the same in the regards that, yeah, you're taking a lot of crashes, you're taking a lot of hits and bumps and falls. And again, from years of training, that's something that you can learn how to do without it hurting as much. I'd say not without any hurt, because you're still going to get hurt even doing stunts that you've done for years and years and years, especially as you get older. I mean, a lot of guys who do stunts when they're younger, if they're really into the stunt world, they start transitioning into coordinating. And then they're still in the stunt world, but then they're telling the young 21-year-old who just moved to Hollywood, like, yeah, sure, I'll throw myself out of a moving car. You're going to pay me $12. All right, let's do it.
Yeah. What was that whole Iron Claw experience like? The cast was phenomenal. The takes on the characters was really, interesting. What was that like for you, getting into the mindset of Bruiser Brody or portraying that character?
Well, I had the good fortune of Bruiser Brody was not really cut up. He was not a really striated jacked character.
Yep.
I mean, I looked at like Jeremy Allen White and Zac Efron both really got pretty cut up for that.
Yeah.
But every day on set, they had trainers following them around. They're like, "You're gonna eat this now. You're gonna eat this now. You're gonna." I mean, we're in Louisiana. This is home to Cajun Creole food, my favorite kind of stuff in the world. We're going down to the hotel lobby in the morning, and I'm getting, slathered butter and bacon on my grits with crawfish and shrimp all over it. And I'm just like, oh man, this is great. And I feel so bad because Zach's over there eating, kale. Sorry, dude. So my experience probably was, obviously I didn't have to, my role was far significantly smaller than theirs, but I also didn't have to get cut up for it so much. They put far more commitment for months and months getting ready for that role physically than I ever would or did. I mean, I would say that not that I wouldn't. It's not something that comes up for me. They're not. Sure. I haven't been asked to get really cut up for a role before.
Yeah. Now
my experience with it was a lot of fun.
Now obviously it's such a tragic story. It was a great telling of it and all. Now, Bruiser Brody had a hell of a story too. Is there any times where you're like whispering in the producer's ears and like, listen, this we want to do like an offshoot movie, Bruiser Brody biopic. I mean, I'm right here. I mean,
I'm sure if they did an offshoot movie though, they'd get a much bigger name than me. I'm not whispering in the producer's ear because I know where my place is at. I'm way, way, way down here still. I'm low on the totem pole. I'm expendable. Like if I start saying, hey, I'm getting to be a little difficult here because I want you guys to do a movie about me, they're like, hey, there was dozens of other big burly bearded guys who auditioned for this, and we can get one of them.
So I also have to get into as Scott pointed out earlier, me and him are like huge Sonny fans, and when we got you on, I can't admit like we're doing a wrestling episode where Scott's gonna do a little trivia contest with somebody else, and this is the perfect interview for it. But as I dove in further, I'm like, oh, it's always Sonny, and then I saw your role. I cannot deny both of us like popped like little kids knowing what episode you were in your role in that. So I guess kind of starting off and all, was that just a natural audition to get on Sonny? Did you know somebody that said you'd look perfect for this? Tell us about getting the role of Tiny.
I actually auditioned for Always Sunny 3 or 4 times, maybe even more, before I got that role. I have a good buddy, Tom LaFaro, who was one of the producers on that show. He was one of the original, he was with it from day one. And I used to babysit for his kids in my earlier days in Hollywood. I did a lot of manning and mentoring for kids. And when Tom would go out of town to film like the exterior scenes for Always Sunny, in Philadelphia, I would babysit his kids, or even before when he had previous shows, he did. Matter of fact, he brought me in to do stunts one time on a show called The Mullets. I don't even remember if The Mullets aired more than one season, but it was
Vaguely remember seeing.
Remember Peterman from the Seinfeld show?
Yeah.
He was the dad, and the mom was Lonnie Anderson, and it was their two sons had these big long bullets. And Tom brought me in and do stunts on that. He also brought me in to get me a couple of my last needed vouchers so I could join the union. Wonderful dude. And so he was always pushing to get me in on Always Sunny. The funny thing was, I came in to read for the casting director who did Always Sunny. And I kid you not, this happened multiple times. I walked in, and the people who are reading were like, we're doing this other show, and you'd be great for it. And it was Sons of Anarchy is what they were also casting. And they're like, you'd be great for it. Would you be willing to do it? I'm like, you guys know how to get a hold of me. You kept bringing me in for this show.
yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't until like the third or fourth time that I auditioned for the show that I got booked. I remember one of the roles that I was looked at for, Patrick Swayze's brother booked it. I think his name's Don Swayze. And I remember watching the episode going, wait a minute, I know these lines. Wait a minute, this is a character I read for. Oh, Patrick Swayze's brother got it. Oh, okay. And that's kind of something that happens a lot in the acting field. Is there's a lot of times when you read for things, you're like, oh man, I was perfect for that. I never even got a call back, or I got a call back. I'm like, I never got on a veil or pin or anything. And then one day you're watching TV and you're going, wait a minute, I know these lines. Wait, this is the role I read for. Oh, this is the guy who got it. And sometimes it's like your buddy and you're like, that's great. Yep. Other times it's somebody that's totally different than you and you're like, what? I mean, I had an audition one time. Again, I went out for Paul Bunyan, and it was for a major
perfect Paul Bunyan.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I went in for the first audition. They're like, you're perfect. Got a call back before I even got home. Went to the callback. Directors, producers, even the advertising agency was in there like, this is the guy. This is great. I got put on a veil or on a pin. Which if you don't know what a veil is, basically like they give you the dates, put yourself on hold for these dates, don't schedule or book anything else. You haven't been booked yet, but we want to make sure that, if anything comes up, you're available for those dates. Well, then my buddy calls me and he goes, Cazzy, remember that Paul Bunyan role we read for? Yeah. He goes, they just called me and booked me. I'm like, and there's that party that's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I felt great for him, but I was also like, well, that just slipped through my hands. That could have been how much money. But he's just like, I don't get it. He's like, are you sure? I couldn't believe that they called me and booked me. And I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, my friend is like, he's probably 5'6". He's got long blonde hair and he's got no facial hair.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, what was casting wanting if they're looking for Paul Bunyan?
Woke Paul Bunyan, maybe?
I was just gonna say woke Bunyan. Yeah.
Sometimes
I keep the trees up. I don't axe them down.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, ultimately, it's like you just don't know what they're reading for, and that's why, like, when my agents or my managers get you auditions, sometimes you look at them and you're like, I don't fit this at all. I really don't want to waste my time having to go across town and do this, but you really have to go do every audition because you just, like a situation like that, you really just don't know what they're looking for.
Sure.
Or they could have an idea in mind and then a different producer or the client comes in or the advertising agency or, someone else comes in and says, we'd like to try it like this instead. Let's go for this totally different route. So you just never know.
So what was it? You got to tell me, like, your experience with the Sunny guys and being on. First off, that episode is a classic episode. The Ass Kickers United and the stickers and you eventually eating a shit sandwich is one of the funniest payoffs in the episodes. I mean, I
cut it all out too. Like behind that door, I was back with Danny DeVito, and he kept handing me this dark rye bread, and I'd put it in my mouth and like swish it around and try and get it all watery, so that when I opened the door, I'd spit the rye bread out, and it would look like But they cut all that out, and I guess probably FX is like, we're not going to air this guy actually spitting poo out.
Yeah, that method actor, he would have put the pure turd in his mouth.
Oh well, yeah. But out. Again, I'm not a method actor. I'm not putting poo in my mouth. But which was fantastic.
What's it like with the four of those guys?
That guy right there. Before we go into the other guys, he's behind the door the whole time, feeding me this rye bread. And DeVito, being an old Italian man, like my grandpa was, and like my dad is like when they talk, their hands are all over the place. Like he's one of those guys that honestly, like a story that would take you or I 15 seconds to tell, he'll take 18 minutes.
I love it.
It's like I got to tell you all the backstory, and I got to tell you it with my hands as they go along. And so he was fantastic. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in. What was your next question?
Oh no, I also met Danny DeVito at he was doing a liquor sales thing, and I went to meet him and took a picture with him, and he ended up singing the Troll Toll song to me in my ear. I was like, "This is the best," it's the best. But I just was curious, like,
what's the Troll Toll song?
Oh, are you Always Sunny fan? It's one of the Nightman Cometh episode, the Troll Toll.
Oh, I know the Nightman Cometh. Yes.
Yeah, you gotta play the Troll Toll to get in that book.
Okay. When you said the Troll song, I'm thinking of the Justin Timberlake.
The Troll song.
Like, please don't start singing that. I was on that music video, and man, that song was stuck in my head for years. And people would come and be like, "I saw you in the Timberlake video dancing," and I'm like.
Well, what's it like working with Rob and Glenn and Charlie? Like, what's that experience like? I'm just curious, a peek behind the curtain on a set of
all very, very friendly fellas. Yep. Rob's wife, who also is on the show, she grew up near me. She's also an Oregonian, so we had that in common and got to talk about that quite a bit. And I also got the good fortune of being on an episode where Dak Shepard and I were. Yes. We ran a construction company together. Another fantastic dude. Yep. Got talking a lot about football. He grew up, I think, a Detroit Lions fan, if I'm not mistaken. I had a good experience working on the show. Would not happen without Tom, and I appreciate his help. But it was a fun one.
Awesome.
With all the different roles, different stuntmen and commercials and stuff like that, are you ever like fully comfortable with like, okay, I'm set, my bills are going to be paid, or are you always like on the edge? Like, when's the next thing I can try out for? When's the next thing I can get?
When I'm on set, I'm not thinking at all about being on edge. Like, where's my next bill coming from? Because when I'm working, I'm like, great, this is gonna pay my next bills. And I'm not really thinking about that. I bring this quote up a lot because it's one of my favorite. My friend Gons once said, because he's also an actor, he said, it's the greatest job in the world between action and cut. What you don't see is the getting to the action, and what happens after the cut. Because again, after the cut, we're all back to being unemployed again. It's it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for 5 years or 55 years. You're still, once the job's over, you're right back to looking for the next gig. And I think that's not just with acting. That's pretty much with any aspect of the entertainment industry. You're back to looking for work again. Obviously, it gets a little easier the more and more reputation, the more and more name you get. I'm sure that Tom Cruise or The Rock or Denzel Washington or so forth are, when they finish a project, they're able to start picking and choosing from their next ones. And sometimes they've already got stuff that are, up and coming 8 months, a year, 2 years later. I'm not at that aspect. I'm not nearly at that level where, once I wrap on something, it's pretty rare I have something else already ready coming up. But I shouldn't say I don't stress about it at all, but not nearly to the extent that I used to. Because 25 years into this now, I realize like something's always going to come up. I always get my bills paid. It's what did Tom Petty say? Most things I worry about never happen anyway. Mm-hmm. If I were to worry about it, then I could drive myself mad. Instead, I've really kind of taken more of the aspect of like, look, I might be back to being unemployed again, but I'm back to being, free to do what I want until the next job comes up. Whatever that freedom, entails, it's different for everybody. But for me, it's like, great. I can sleep in tomorrow because I don't have to work.
Yeah. And man, in the end, you're doing cool shit, and you're doing stuff people would dream of doing, and finding ways to do entertainment for a living and whatnot. So it's pretty cool to hear. Cazzy, sure. What do you
ultimately I'm getting paid to do dress up and make believe.
Exactly. So first off, thank you for giving us some time on the show, man. It's fun to talk to you. You're one of those guys who's like perfect for our show because you could pick out a million things and kind of, we could have you on again and go through 30 other things you've done and ask you about them. And but I'm curious if fans are hearing this or people are checking you out, like what do you got coming up and where can people check you out?
I don't know how much of that stuff I can actually divulge. I'm because I'm not in production. You do when you get involved with new projects, a lot of times they have you sign NDAs. So as far as like promoting stuff ahead of time,
you're Wolverine, aren't you? God damn it!
I told you I have no abs anymore. I got. No, but it's again because I'm not in production. I'm always I'm careful and cautious about,
of course,
divulging what's coming up, just because I don't know what I'm supposed to say and what I'm not supposed to say. Even in interviews like this, it's still like I don't want to say something and then it gets on the air or gets recorded or whatever, and then like, well, you weren't supposed to talk about that project yet. I'm like, oh darn it, So people, they ask, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, if I just film something and it's done, it's like it's one thing. But it's also, if it hasn't aired yet, it's, not that I think that people are really going to care that much, but they do that with most actors. Like for example, like if you're working on the new Star Wars and you may even be done filming already, well, you're the guy that's going to go, get on a podcast and be like, oh, by the way, I just worked on this new movie called Star Wars, and this guy Luke Skywalker finds out Darth Vader's his dad. It's really cool. You should watch it sometime when it comes out. For sure. Well, everybody's waiting to find out who Darth Vader is, and you're the idiot that just went on some podcast and told the story to everybody else. So again, most of the stuff I'm working on right now, I don't think are that secretive.
Okay.
But you're still not supposed to say
no
anything.
worries. Yeah. So where can people go follow you and see what's going on in the life of Cazzey here?
If you get on the internet, if you know about the new interweb thing.
Well, I've heard about it.
It's that system of tubes, right?
Yeah. There you go. There you go. No, it's the internetting that goes inside your swim trunks,
the nut net. You got to cut that out.
The nut net, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On the internet, I'm the only person with my name, if you spell it correctly. I mean, there is Cazzey David, Larry David's daughter, and there's also Cazzey Russell, who my name came from. But he's in his mid 80s and he was a basketball player in the 60s and 70s. But if you spell my name the way that my parents, named me, Cazzey, you'll find all sorts of stuff. And that's pretty easy to follow me from there because nobody else has my name, which again, as a kid, I kept thinking that's not cool. And as I grew up, and especially being in this industry, it's like, wow, that's fantastic. I have a name that literally nobody else has. I'm like Madonna or Cher, except for the fact that I
when I look at you, I think Madonna and Cher.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, I used my full name obviously because I'm much more proud of the last name than I am of the first, and the middle name is also something I'm very proud of. I mean, that's my grandpa's name. It was my dad's middle name. It's so kind of a family name as well. So I like to use all three of them, but yeah, I probably, even when I joined the union, they were even saying the same thing to me. Like, why don't you just use the first name? Because nobody else has it. I'm like, I want to walk around being like, hi, I'm Cazzy. And then if I got super famous, I'd be like, I'm the artist formerly known as Cazzy.
A final question from me. When you did some musical stuff for Kato Kalin, he ever whisper you anything of note?
You mean about OJ?
Oh, he knew OJ? Oh, I didn't know.
You didn't hear him before about the NDAs. He can't tell you about.
No, it wasn't anything that ever got brought up. No,
I hear that.
And I think it actually, to be honest with you, I want to. If I remember correctly, I think I had to go look up when I first booked a show. I'm like, Kato Kalin. Why do I recognize that name? I had to go look up. I'm like, I know the name. And then, of course, I looked it up. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he's the guy who lived in OJ's guest house when he had the murder trial. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. He's a talk show host now? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cazzy, thank you so much for giving us some time. Best of luck with everything going forward. And we'd love to talk with you again sometime down the road.
Well, you know where to find me.
Yeah, I loved Cazzy. The only thing I heard was the Always Sunny stuff. That's all. I blacked out everything else. So
Yeah. Like I said, that was literally the most pleasant surprise when I was looking him up, and I'm like, whoa, we got this.
I mean, him talking about Danny DeVito actually feeding him some kind of prop shit sandwich is poetic justice for me.
Like, that could be the best Danny DeVito story that nobody knows about. Like,
they're going to know about it in this week's promotion. So
yeah, exactly. Everyone and all 6 of you, be prepared to be the ones that know the story right here.
So yeah, really interesting guest. He's got a lot of big recognizable roles that are small roles, but like you recognize his face once you look it up. So yeah, pretty cool story. So we have arrived to the portion that we have kind of teased here, and we've been putting together. I will once again say that I am nervous. I'm nervous. I need a win here. The podcast gods have not been great to me. I feel like
you don't feel like a first round pick.
No, and I feel like I'm forgotten. I feel like I put all these work in these games, and I don't get any fruits of labor from this. What's the phrase I'm looking for? Fruits of labor. What's something along the lines? I don't get anything. Okay, I never win. I'm like Charlie Brown of this podcast. So I think if I lose tonight, I'm going to retire like a wrestler and just suddenly appear somewhere in the summer and come back. You two can take it from here. You could do wrestling episodes all the way through August, and I'll just take a nice break.
Oh yeah, I mean we'll do the Impact Wrestling show and all, and we'll debate whether it's Impact or TNA. But
you're already losing me. You're losing me.
Oh, Scotty,
Mike,
stay with us.
What do we got?
All right, everyone, welcome to the road to VerbaMania, ladies and gentlemen. I built the SWF, the Shenanigans Wrestling Federation, from the ground up with my bare hands. And I gave my audience exactly what they look for in entertainment. And I gave them the champion they could be proud of. I found this raw talent called Rampage.
Wow.
Now on the streets of New Jersey, I took their big ball of red clay and I molded him into a proper champion for the fans to admire. He went into as a street thug, and he came out as my bare knuckle Brennan that will carry this federation to new heights. But do you, the audience, respect him as you should? No. You all start chanting for this Kang Kong I've been hearing about. I mean, we can't call him Harry Kong because then the Google searches would be terrible.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Though the episode could be called Midget Strippers and Harry Kong.
But let me get back into character here.
Yeah. Okay.
They say he knows wrestling. They say he's a savant. But damn it, I know what's best for all of you. And even though these two will go face to face at VerbaMania, I am going to do everything I can to keep the belt on my bare knuckle. Brennan, do you understand me, King Kong?
That's not fair, but I'll tell you what, that title will be mine by hell or high water.
Well, we'll see if you even make it to VerbaMania, because we got 3 rounds beforehand. So let's see how good you really are, King Kong. In fact, the first round is called Harry Screwed Harry. Harry, I am going to give you a question. And if you get it right, you'll get a point. If you get it wrong, I give Scott a clue to steal the point. Now, all I need to tell you, Harry, is if you miss that point, don't get mad at the commissioner if Scott is able to figure it out. I'm just the commissioner of this federation. Are you ready?
Bring it on.
So I'd like to ask a question here.
Yes, my bare knuckle.
So I would just like to say that Rampage was my, for people just listening, was my backyard wrestling name back in like 7th and 8th grade. So I've known the commish here for quite some time. He picked me up for the backyards and brought me up through the ranks. And I guess I'm the champion now, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
So
My champion.
I don't know if I should be playing. Okay. All right. I'm in. I don't have a question. Let's let Harry lose.
All right. I'll let the announcer come in now so I don't have to do this voice.
I couldn't tell if Robert Kennedy Jr. or Vince McMahon joined us on the show here.
All right. Question number 1, Harry. I'm the last person to win the Royal Rumble and not have a title match at WrestleMania. Name him.
I'm the last person to have won the Royal Rumble, but I did not have a title match at Mania. Ooh.
So easy.
I know there's people after that, but honestly, I can only think of when Vince McMahon won the Royal Rumble. He did not have a title match at that WrestleMania, but no one's coming to mind after that. So I will say Vince McMahon.
Scott, your clue would have been, I am the billionaire who reportedly crapped on females' heads because it aroused him. Name him. Vince McMahon won the 1999 Royal Rumble, forfeited his match with The Rock, and authority figure Shawn Michaels awarded Austin the title opportunity. There were 2 others that won the Royal Rumble and either A, got the title, or B, cashed in early, John Cena and Triple H, but they both ended up having a title match at Mania. So
Vince McMahon won the Royal Rumble.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Well, they basically, to give you the quick synopsis, was Austin was 1, he was 2. He was in the ring for like 5 minutes, getting beat up, ran out into the crowd, and then waited until everybody else was eliminated, came back and won it.
Okay.
All right. So it's Kong 1, bare knuckle nothing.
Come on, Commish. You're my manager here, man. I'm alone here on an island.
Damn it, you'll get it. Don't worry. Harry, I managed a team at a battle royal in WrestleMania 14 and did not return until WrestleMania 25 to participate in a battle royal of my own. Who am I?
Oh gosh, WrestleMania 14. If I had to guess, WrestleMania 25 was, I think it was like the ladies battle royal of some sort, if I'm thinking of the right one. So this would be Sunny, who is managing the LOD 2000.
Scott, your question would have been, I am known these days for creating adult content and murders via DUI. Who am I? It is indeed Sunny.
Harry, I know you have a child and all, but what is it like to be a virgin, like at this age of your life? How is that humanly possible for you to know this stuff?
When you are in it, you can't forget it. You'll forget people's names, faces, but wrestling you cannot. If is
children's names.
Yeah.
You know, why can't you put your powers to good? You know everything about wrestling, MASH, and Xena Warrior Princess. What good is this doing for society here? Why can't you turn this into something positive? Now you're beating me in a game I haven't even had a chance to answer a question yet. God damn it. This is where I heel turn. This is where I power bomb.
I got your back. Stop it.
I thought my knowledge in Xena, MASH, and pro wrestling was what made me a guest on the podcast in the first place. I'm confused by the...
That's true. He wouldn't be on this week.
That's true. And you do have a Xena ornament that's somewhere in Beijing right now. So
2025.
Oh, Lord. Now tariffs are coming down. I can't wait till eBay's like, listen, you got to give me an extra $5 for the Xena ornament.
I just think that thing is officially gone. So we'll have to find a new one. All right. This is great. I'm losing a game I can't talk in.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll get you in there. All right, Harry. Question 3. The Undertaker was 21-0 at WrestleMania. But this wrestler can be called the Overgiver, as he has never won in 9 Mania and Mania pre-show appearances. Name him.
This wrestler has never won in 9 appearances at WrestleMania. Oh, gosh.
Mania and Mania pre-shows.
Okay. Wow. Huh. I think you might have me on this one. Oh gosh, who would have it been? Pre-shows and that. So, God, who's? You know, I'm gonna have to take a guess here. Let's say Dolph Ziggler. I don't think that's it, but
Scott, Rowdy Piper smacked my painted face around and exposed that I was wearing women's undergarments under my yellow outfit at WrestleMania 12. Name him.
Say it again.
Okay. Rowdy Piper smacked my painted face around and exposed I was wearing women's undergarments under my yellow outfit at WrestleMania 12. Name him.
Max Moon. No. I think I know who this is. Yellow painted face. What it is? Is that real flamboyant? That's Gold Dust.
That's correct.
All right.
That's correct. Goldust has appeared in various matches at Mania and the pre-shows, has never ended the night with a victory.
Wow. All right.
On the board, 2-1. 2-1.
Is that guy still around?
Yes.
I feel like wrestlers never
AEW.
They never go away. So
under his regular name, Dustin Rhodes.
Now I know the champion is Cody Rhodes. They're brothers? Is that what they are?
Half brothers.
Half brothers. Okay.
same father but different mothers.
Yep.
Same father, different mothers. Okay. Because if I didn't get that one and Harry got that, I was going to heel turn and me and Harry were going to become a team and just destroy you.
Yeah. I was getting really worried when I said painted face and yellow outfit and you had to think about it.
Dude,
okay.
I haven't thought about Gold Dust in 25 years.
Why?
Unlike you guys who flick your bean at night to Gold Dust, I don't know what to tell you.
Every night, I'm just texting you Gold Dust facts, okay? Until you get through your head to think about Gold Dust every night, okay?
Dude, you don't understand how lucky you are that I just remembered who Gold Dust was. Like,
I was worried, believe me. I thought that was an easy
one of
guess.
the guys that I've put in some closet in my memory a long time ago.
All right. Question number 4.
Ironically, the wig the midget was wearing was very Gold Dust-esque, by the way. So,
I wish you guessed the midget. All right. Though not officially recognized on WWE's website, according to Storyline, this object was a champion in WWE in 1999. It is not a human. Name the object.
Ooh, gosh. Okay,
You guys watch this stuff? An object was a champion?
So I think the object here at play. Oh boy, no, I might get this wrong. Hold on. All right. So the popular object in 1999 around that area, or at least person who was masquerade or bringing one to the ring, was Al Snow with the mannequin head. So I'm gonna say it was Head, who also appeared in WWF Attitude, the game that came out second on the PlayStation before the SmackDown series. Is it Head?
Scott, I was going to ask you, what does everybody want?
Oh, my God.
It was Head. When Al Snow beat Hardcore Holly for the Hardcore title in 1999, he had Head in his hand that was covering Holly. In Storyline, Al Snow refused to recognize himself as a champion, which led to a match between Al Snow and Head.
Now, I will say, that Al Snow was my favorite wrestler of that last era of wrestling that I watched in my life. He was my favorite. So to get him on the show was pretty damn cool at one point. And then I watched that documentary like 2 years ago that he was in. And that dude's still a beast. Like he looks like he can kick the hell out of all three of us, preferably you for creating this game. But I might I might bring Al Snow back on.
That'd be awesome.
No.
Absolutely. All right. Final question of the first round. On the Raw in September 12th of 2012, R-Truth was throwing a shindig for his buddy Little Jimmy and brought in the host of Raw to assist in the party. Who was the celebrity host of Raw that night?
Wow, that's a really difficult one. Okay, let's see. 2012.
R-Truth and Little Jimmy? What is this?
I mean, once I start explaining, then you'll just be asking more questions. So
okay, I'll just go with it. Thanks, Kamish. Yeah.
All right, so who was the celebrity host of Raw, September 12th, 2012, that took part in the party for Little Jimmy? Oh, gosh.
Is Little Jimmy a midget?
He's an imaginary friend.
I'm
okay.
My connection is I can't. What did you guys say?
Yes,
I need to go.
Yes, he was basically he brought it up in a promo with John Cena, and then they started making him an imaginary friend, which was also used during matches and stuff like that. So
I just want to clarify that you guys watch this.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I can clarify. Not every wrestling thing I've watched I'm proud of. I will say that much.
So
I also want to clarify my kids are like upstairs sleeping with my wife, and I'm downstairs here debating two grown men who Little Jimmy is. So I'm not much better. This is what I've chosen to do with my life.
All right. So I can't think of who the celebrity is. So I'm trying to think, what clue could you give to Scott where he'll get it? Right. I'm going to go with Bob Barker, the former host of The Price is Right. That's what I think you're going to go at, because I have no idea who would have been on September 12th of 2012 hosting Raw, but they did have a lot of celebrity guest hosts in that time period, so that's a really difficult one, unless it's plainly obvious, which, anyway.
Scott, who would be the last person you would want around a Little Jimmy coming to cater your birthday party with Subway sandwiches?
Jared from Subway.
That is correct, Scott. Jared Fogle, as part of the Raw Celebrity Guest Host Circuit, one week Jared Fogle, a.k.a. Jared from Subway, guested and in storyline was catering R-Truth's invisible friend Little Jimmy's birthday party with sub sandwiches.
Wow. I'm surprised McMahon didn't bring him back and be like, we really got to work this angle. We got to bring Jared in. He molests all the wrestlers' children.
Bring in little Dominic. Either you win custody or he'll get molested.
It's the first ever molestation match.
All right. After one round,
it's just a kid hanging from the like they got to climb the ladder. Don't molest him.
It's the one match you're not supposed to touch what's on the pole.
There's one person trying to get to him, and the other person's trying to prevent it.
All right. After one round, the score is Kang Kong 3, Bare Knuckle Brennan 2. So, all right. We got a close game here. Our next game is called Running the Ropes. I'm giving you both a group to name members in. I will start off with the one, and you will go back and forth. So I will say, let's say Legion of Doom. I point to Scott. He says a name. Then I would go to Harry and say Nation of Domination, and he would say a name. And it goes back and forth until either somebody messes up or we get all the members. If you both get all the members, you get all the points. If somebody screws up, I give the person who has the most their points.
Okay. There's no padding here for Bare Knuckle Brennan. I'm on my own against Kang Kong here.
Well, in this round, I am going to give you an opportunity to tag in a partner one time. So if you think you got a decent amount of lists, but you want to extend it and you're not sure, you can tag me in to give out an answer. You both have won this round.
He doesn't get a tag partner. He's screw him. No, he doesn't get a tag partner.
You know what? You're right.
You know,
God damn it.
tag partner. He just told me some bro Sonny from 1995. No, he does not get a tag partner. This is a 2v1 showdown. He's Ken
Bare
Collins.
Knuckle Brandon talked to the commissioner, and the commissioner will accept the offer. So
I will end this cast right now. I will hit that stop recording button. He does not get a partner.
All right. So this first one, there are 2 members of each group. So basically, we're going to go back and forth. Scott, since you are behind, you can tell me if you want Harry to start or you want you to start.
I would like to start.
Okay. So I'm going to give Scott, your group, your tag team is Head Cheese. And Harry, your tag team is the New Rockers. I am going to start with Scott. Name a member of Head Cheese.
I am going to go Al Snow.
Correct. Harry.
Marty Jannetty.
Correct. Scott.
I'm going to tag my partner in.
All right, so you can get the 2. Steve Blackman, Scott. The Lethal Weapon, Steve Blackman.
Yes, I vaguely remember him. He was a big jack dude that did karate.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Harry?
I have to finish up with Leif Cassidy, who is later on became Al Snow.
That is correct. You both get 2 points for the round, so it's 5-4.
This is going to be hard to dig out of. Okay.
All right. So, Scott, you're still behind. Again, do you want to start or you want Harry to start?
I'll let Harry start this one.
Okay, Harry, these are both 3-member teams. You get PMS. Harry, you get Pretty Mean Sisters. And I'm only looking for the female members of that group.
There's a male member of Pretty Mean Sisters?
I'll say after this round who the male. Yeah.
Is it Gold Dust?
No, but it's actually worse. It's actually worse. So
first member would be Jacqueline Moore.
That is correct. Scott, your group is the Brood.
Oh, I think I actually know this one. Gangrel.
Correct. To Harry.
Terry Reynolds.
That is correct. To Scott.
Edge.
Correct. To Harry.
If memory serves, I think it's Ryan Shamrock, who's 3rd member.
Correct. Scott.
Christian.
Correct. Both of you get 3 points each in this round.
Oh, my God. I don't need that might be the last tag team I ever remember.
Yeah. On a side note, Pre-Mean Sisters brought in the male, Sean Stasiak, aka Meat.
Yeah.
And they managed him. They managed me.
So somebody was the meat manager.
All 3 were meat managers in this scenario.
Wait, the wrestler's name was Meat.
He would go to the ring, come into the ring, Meat.
Again, audience, I would like to talk directly to you. I apologize. This is what happens when I let Mike take the handles here and the reins. And
I didn't make the wrestling groups. I made the question.
Here we are talking about Little Jimmy and the meat manager and Jared Fogle. This is where the show goes when Mike has control. I just would like to say that your boy Scott still loves you.
Hey. There has been no spasming, brawl, twirling since I've been on this episode so far. Okay, cut me a break.
The people like the spasm and broad twirling stories.
All right, maybe it'll come back.
Do they like meat? I don't know, but okay, I'll take my points.
Okay, so now it is 8-7.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Scott. Again, since you are behind, do you want to go first or second?
I'm going to go first again because that worked out well for me in the last one.
All right, Scott.
But Harry, you better give him a tag team from like 1912 in some circus.
All right, I think I got a top one. We'll see.
Okay.
4 members in both of your groups. Scott, you
4?
have, yes. It allows you more opportunities for points, okay?
And failure.
Yeah. Your group is evolution.
Evolution. Now, I will say that I did not come into this completely blind. I've been trying to watch like some Dark Side of the Rings this last week or two. There was another one on Hulu. I don't know who put it out. I don't know exactly, but I want to say Triple H.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, Harry.
I think I might know who this group possibly is.
Okay, Harry, your group is the core.
Ooh, okay. So
he didn't even flinch. He didn't even flinch. He said, ooh, okay. And then he did a little shoulder shrug, and he's going to name all 4.
Maybe. So the leader of the core was Wade Barrett.
That is correct. To
Wade
you,
Boggs.
Scott.
Wade Boggs. Got it. I'm going to go Ric Flair.
Correct.
Okay. I think I know one more.
Yeah. Harry?
So members of the core, the ones who had split off from the Nexus group. Oh, I can see this guy in my head. Oh, God, what's his name?
I hope it's Death.
Oh, gosh. I think, hold on. He was, let's see, they broke off. Man, I might have to I might have to fold on this one. I'm gonna say, was Ezekiel Jackson a part of that group? I might be wrong. Let's go with Ezekiel Jackson.
Correct. To you, Scott.
Was he Michael's long lost brother, Ezekiel Jackson? Like, what the hell are we talking about? Oh boy. Ric Flair, Triple H. There's that big jacked guy. Not Brock Lesnar. What's his name? Randy Orton.
Correct.
Ooh.
To you, Harry.
Is he the big jack guy?
Let's see. So we got the 2 main guys here. Then they had, so when they split off from the Nexus, 2 of the guys were forced into a fight by CM Punk, who had usurped leadership from Wade Barrett.
Can you confirm that, Scott?
Oh, my people say that's accurate. Let him talk.
Yeah. Okay.
The one is, I can't think of his name. I want to say it was Justin something, but I think the other guy that was forced into a fight with him was Heath Slater.
Correct. To you, Scott, the 4th member of Evolution.
What? Heath Slater?
Yeah, he was redheaded. Don't you guys know each other?
He's redhead?
Yeah, he is.
I can't tag anybody in, right? I
Use your tag. Yeah, Triple H, Ric Flair, Randy Orton.
I don't know. Edge.
Incorrect. Now, Harry, if you get the 4th member, you will get your 4 points. If you miss this, you will both get 3 points. And I'll say a 1-point game.
Look at him pretending he doesn't know. He's gonna be like, well, I thought it was blah 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 from the Nexus Foundation, and it's Bobby Billingswood.
No, he was in the Nexus. What's wrong with you?
Oh, God. I want to say his name is like, it's Justin something, but jeez. He used to do that that finisher off the top. I think it was like a somersault splash of some sort, or a 720, but I can't think of his last name for the life of me. I think it's Justin something. If there's a room for a half point, great. And if I'm getting screwed over, I'll take the L. But I think it was Dude's name was Justin, I think.
I want you to attempt that move right now off of your dresser. Either that or I'm going to do it to myself.
I broke my neck, and that was a 560. That was not a 720.
It wasn't a 560? Oh, jeez.
Scott, your missing member was Batista, the gentleman who was in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yep. Harry, you were right on Justin. The full name was Justin Gabriel. So you both get 3 points for this round. So we keep it a 1 point game.
That Batista guy somehow made it into like pretty good movies over his career. He's like one of the guys who did all right.
The funny thing was he wanted to get into movies when WWE had movies, and they said, no, you're not a movie star.
You're not a movie star. Bring in Jared Fogle. You two will wrestle at Mania.
All right. This last one.
Oh my God, he hit him with an Italian sub. Oh, he's unbuckling his pants. Oh, anyway.
All right. You both are going to get the same group in this one. There are 12 possible answers in this group. Again, Scott, Scott, since you are behind, I will ask you again. Do you want to go first or second?
First.
All right. The group is any member of the $1 Million Corporation.
I know 3, I think. I'll go with Virgil.
Sorry, Scott. He was out of the $1 Million Man's entourage before he created the $1 Million Corporation.
What? He wasn't his slave? Because basically that character was a slave.
I mean, he was. I mean, I can't deny that, but he was not an official member of the $1 Million Corporation. So, Harry,
can I just throw another guess out there real quick, Harry? Since you're going to name all 12 like it's nothing, we're rewinding the tape. I said IRS.
Correct.
Okay, that was my other guess. So now I'm going to lose the next round anyway.
So I will say what the next one would be former guest of Verbal Shenanigans, Psycho Sid.
Correct.
Really?
Yep. Did you want to be nice, Harry, and let him try again?
Sure.
No.
Because I am the babyface in here. I play by the rules and I play fair.
All right. So Scott, you're still in. We got 2 points out there. Let's see if you can add to it.
Now, was this thing like people who just worked like $1 Million Man was the manager?
Anybody who was in the group, which could include the manager.
I don't know any groups. Didn't he manage that guy in the bodysuit that had the hair on it?
I mean, you kind of sort of named the name. I mean, including the manager of the $1 Million Corporation. You do realize.
Can I name Ted DiBiase?
That's correct. Thank you, Scott.
Oh, I didn't know he counted. I thought you were saying his people.
Nope.
Okay,
Harry.
yeah. Take that, Harry.
Yeah.
Who was that guy in the terrible bodysuit that was like 400 feet tall? He wore like the Mr. Science suit.
Are you thinking about, so for my next guess, it would be Bam Bam Bigelow, Jersey Zone. I think, Scott, are you thinking about John Gonzalez?
Yes. Didn't $1 Million Man manage him or something?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
But Harry, you are correct. So, Scott, we've had Ted DiBiase, IRS. We've had Bam Bam Bigelow. We've had Psycho Sid.
I have no idea. Tatanka.
Correct.
No way.
Yep.
Tatanka sold out to the $1 Million Man?
Yes, he did. That was
when did this happen?
SummerSlam 1994, but who's counting?
Oh, man. Tatanka, how could you?
I will pick another New Jersey guy from Atlantic City, supposedly, King Kong Bundy.
Correct.
Your grandfather? I don't know. Someone from that era. The Repo Man.
Sorry, Scott. The Repo Man, though, would logically fit in that group, did not. So Harry's going to get 6 points here.
He's, whoever creates these games, whether it's Dom, yeah, Dom, I hope you're listening. We heard the question.
So.
We
Then
heard
who
the questions. The questions you asked Mike in the last game, as opposed to the questions you asked me. Now I'm talking about the $1 Million Corporation, and Tatanka joined them. That's like the one wrestler I remember.
Yeah. So the full list: $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, Erwin R. Scheister, Nikolai Volkov, the original man.
He was the first one. Yep.
Yeah. The fake Undertaker. I would have accepted Undertaker, but the fake Undertaker.
The Undertaker.
Brian Lee.
Yep. Bam Bam Bigelow, Tatanka, King Kong Bundy, Kama Mustafa, or also now known as the Godfather, the 1-2-3 Kid, Psycho Sid, and also listed, according to Wikipedia, Santa Claus, the fake, the brother of Santa Claus from the South Pole, who was a heel. I think he only made one appearance.
Probably December.
Yeah. And the ringmaster, Steve Austin. Those are the members of the $1 Million Corporation.
Once again, I'd like to talk to the audience. I apologize for Santa Claus. I don't. Do you know the $1 Million Corporation people? No, you don't. Only these two know the 12 members of the $1 Million Corporation. I can't believe didn't Virgil follow around Ted DiBiase like his whole
he did.
How is he not part of the corporation?
Because DiBiase was still wrestling at the time when they split up, and then when his back was bad and he decided to retire, he became a manager and created the $1 Million Corporation. In which case, Virgil was always face the rest of the time. He was not heel.
So he didn't bring Virgil along with him to be a slave in his corporation?
No, Virgil punched him in the face for being his slave master, and then he had a very average wrestling career after that.
Is Virgil alive?
No,
he just passed.
Jeez,
he was in our brackets last year. He died last year.
And again, this goes. I don't listen when you talk, so Virgil dying. He was in our brackets. He should have won. He should have won. Virgil been up there with DMX and anyway.
All right, we're 2 rounds in. Our next game is the Royal Rumble. By the way, the score right now is Kong 17, Bare Knuckle 10 right now. But we got a little bit of a bidding item here where you can possibly get more points here, Scott. So we got a chance here. This next game is called the Royal Rumble. So the Rumble is known for having a mass amount of people in the ring at the same time. So I'm going to present a question with 10 options in it. And we're going to kind of do it like Name That Tune, but it's a little opposite. So the first person, since Scott, you're behind, you will get the opportunity to bid first. And the lowest you can go is 4, where I basically strike out 6 other options, and then you can make the guess. The next person can make the choice of bidding higher or passing. So we're going to bid until either somebody says goes to 10 or passes. Then they will make a guess on the question. If they are right, they will get whatever they bid. If they are wrong, their opponent will get an opportunity to make a guess and get 1 less point than the bid.
Sounds difficult. Okay.
It's fairly straightforward, and also, it's kind of a strategy thing. So maybe that maybe you don't know the answer, but you're going to bid up high, figuring your opponent may not know, and then you can backhand get the secondhand points in that scenario, something like that.
But he knows everything.
Well, we will see if he knows absolutely everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, gentlemen.
If he lost the game, he should have to dress like Bret the Hitman Hart for the next game.
Can you guys see the screen now?
I see.
Wow, bro.
That's a lot. That's a lot on that desktop.
A lot of thumbnails, my friend.
Yeah, I know. All right. So first question right here. Which former Verbal Shenanigans guest was also a Raw special guest host? So right now on the screen, we got Dee Snider, Dyson Knight, Ted Gianolis, a.k.a. the San Diego Chicken, Perez Hilton, LeJean Witherspoon, Mo Vaughn, Chris Van Vliet, William Hung, Scott Martin Brooks, the WhatsApp Budweiser person, and Mark Summers. So, Scott, I'm going to start with you. The lowest you can bid is 4. The highest you can bid is 10. What do you want to bid?
Okay. So
if you bid 4 and Harry passes, I'm going to strike out 6 names, and then you're going to take the multiple choice guess for 4 points.
I'm going to start with 4 just to ease into this game here.
Okay. Harry, to you.
I kind of missed on the directions. Do I pass or what?
So your choice is if you think you know,
I hope you pass away.
If you think you can get the answer, you'd say, okay, I can get with 5 options or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
If you think I don't even think Scott can get it with 4, you pass, and then I strike out 6 names, and he'll take a guess. If he gets it right, he gets 4 points. If he gets it wrong, you can steal for 3 points.
Okay. I think I could get this with 5.
All right, to you, Scott.
Okay. So am I guessing now?
You're either bidding 6 or higher, or you're passing, and I give Harry 5 options.
I guess I'll have to go 6.
To you, Harry.
Oh. I'll pass.
All right. So, Scott, I'm going to strike out 4 names. It wasn't Mo Vaughn. It wasn't Scott Martin Brooks. It wasn't Dyson Knight. It wasn't LeJean Witherspoon. So, Scott, which of these remaining was also a Raw special guest host? Dee Snider, Ted Gianolis, a.k.a. the San Diego Chicken, Perez Hilton, Chris Van Vliet, William Hung, or Mark Summers?
I can't imagine Perez Hilton being well received in the wrestling world. You guys aren't very progressive over there. For some reason, now guest host, like is a guest host speaking a lot? Like, are they?
What basically happened is they had a series for about 3 years where the gimmick was Raw is going to have a special guest host, and then some random celebrity would be out. Whether they did a ton on the show or just a little, it varies between the guests. So I can tell you, just saying, well, this person's not involved in wrestling doesn't answer the question.
Oh boy. I feel, like Chris Van Vliet seems like he'd be a good pick, but maybe he just, I feel like that would happen soon because he's so popular. Mark Summers is definitely a good one. But for some reason, my gut is telling me William Hung.
William Hung did not guess on Raw. So, Harry, to you, you can steal for 5 points of the remaining ones. Snyder, Gianolis, Hilton, Vliet, or Summers.
Initially I was thinking it was Mark Summers because he would be a great host. He hosted Double Dare and other shows, and he'd be great at it. I couldn't see the connection that would bring him in. So the only one of these group, and Van Vliet would also be great, but I think he's too recent from the period that we're talking about. So my eyes are on Dee Snider being the host.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to keep clicking. Chris Van Vliet is not.
No Dee Snider. Okay.
It was Perez Hilton,
Holy
gentlemen.
moly.
Yep.
Perez Hilton.
Yep, he did a special guest host in 2009, and basically he got shoved down by the Bella Twins, and then he helped them. He basically stopped them from winning against Alicia Fox and Kelly Kelly.
Oh, of course, Kelly. You know, yes. Where
All right.
one name isn't enough. Let's make them two. I gotta see Perez Hilton hosting.
Yeah, so it's still 17-10. Scott, since you're behind, you will be the first bidder. The next question is: 9 of these wrestlers have won a WWE, a WCW, and an ECW title. One of these did not. We have Mick Foley, The Sandman, Chris Jericho, Kane, Devon Dudley, Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, Raven, Shane Douglas, and Eddie Guerrero. Scott, I turn to you. For minimum, what is your bid?
Now, so if I think Harry's going to know like all of these, like a ton of them, I should bid high, correct?
That would be a good strategy where you bid it up. If Harry won't, even if Harry gives it to you, he can.
I feel like Harry's going to know this, so I'm going to bid 9, I think.
Okay. To you, Harry, it would be yours if you want to bid 10 on this scenario or pass it to Scott.
Let's keep things fun. I'm going to pass.
Okay, Scott, I'm going to eliminate one name from this list, which is Chris Jericho. So Foley, Sandman, Kane, Devon Dudley, Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, Raven, Shane Douglas, and Eddie Guerrero. Which one of these did not win a title in WWE, WCW, and ECW?
So they have to win a title in each one of them, correct?
They have to have held a title of WWE, WCW, and ECW at some point in their career.
I'm going to go with the Sandman. I don't think he was successful in the WWE, but I have no idea.
It's not Benoit. It's not Foley. It's not Guerrero. It's not Douglas.
Come on, baby. Come on.
The Sandman.
Hey,
nice job.
Correct for 9 points. Now, what may have thrown some people off, Devon Dudley and Kane did not wrestle in WCW. Kane did not wrestle in ECW, but Kane had the WWE's version of the WCW tag titles and ECW title. Devon Dudley held the WCW tag titles while in WWF. Scott, you just took the lead. It's 1917.
Holy moly. The only reason my thinking in that was like, I remember the Sandman from like ECW, like, smashing beers on his face, but I don't ever remember him being very like involved in WWF at all. I think he was just like a drunk mess. So
they had him over. Apparently McMahon liked him, but he didn't last long.
Yeah. I watched his Dark Side of the Ring just this week, and there was not that many WWE highlights in there for the Sandman. So
all right.
Yes.
So
wait, can we stop? I need a little pick me up speech from my manager here.
Yes, it's a commissioner. God damn it! I knew it. I got you for a reason, my fair knuckle friend. It's gonna take Shenanimania or VerbaMania, whatever I named it.
Shenanimania, that works too.
All right, Harry. So now, since you're trailing, you will get first bid. According to Sportster, which one of these managers had the most WWF, WWE titles? As in, they were the manager of a team that won a title, any title in the Federation. Captain Lou Albano, Slick, Freddie Blassie, Paul Bearer, Mr. Fuji, Jimmy Hart, Chyna, Lita, Sonny, Bobby the Brain Heenan. Harry, you have to bid minimum 4. What is your bid?
And the most I could bid would be 10, right?
Correct. If you bid 10, the question is yours, and then you make a guess.
I think I know this one. I've got a little doubt, but I think I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to bid 10.
Okay. It is your question.
So, if memory serves correctly, at least the way they put him on TV, they used to say that Captain Lou Albano was the manager who guided teams to the tag team titles. While all these folks are, decent, especially when I'm looking at Jimmy Hart and stuff. I think Lou Albano beats them all. So I'm going to go with Captain Lou.
Mario.
Cousin Sonny, Slick, Lita, China, Paul Bearer, Mr. Fuji. It was Captain Lou Albano with 16
Jesus
title holders.
Christ, Harry. What in God's name? How?
Watch wrestling?
This is more than watch. This is like Jeopardy level questions on wrestling.
This is 27-19 right now. God damn it, Bare Knuckle, get in there.
I didn't even have a shot, Coach.
Don't you get back at me. You do what you have to do. All right, next question.
I was going to guess Bobby the Brain Heenan, by the way. That was my guess. So.
He had about 9. So, which of the following females did not win a men's title at some point in their career? Right now we have Molly Holly, Medusa, Carmella, Maria Kanellis, Jacqueline, Trish Stratus, Terry Runnels, Kelly, Lita, and one of the Godfather's hoes. Scott, since you are now behind, you will get first bid.
Mike, I know 3 of the people in this.
Is the Godfather's hoe?
Well,
is that one?
Godfather's hoe, Trish Stratus, and Terry Runnels. And I think Lita was the girl with the tattoos. So, I know 4. Which of the following females did not win a men's title at some point in their career? So 9 of these hoes have won a title?
1 hoe, 8 female wrestlers have won a men's title. 1 has not.
I know Harry's going to know this. He's going to know this. I got to bid 9 again in hopes that he gets this wrong.
Do you, Harry? Do you want to bid 10 or do you want Scott to go?
Let's make this fun. I'd like to see Scott go.
Jesus Christ.
All right, Scott, I'm removing 1 name, and that's Molly Holly, who was a hardcore champion at one point in her career. Medusa, Carmella, Maria Kanellis, Jacqueline, Trish Stratus, Terry Runnels, Kelly, Lita, Godfather's hoe. Which one did not win a men's title in their career?
All right. I got to imagine Godfather's hoe won a title because it's just too convenient to be in there. God, I have no freaking idea, man. I don't know who Jacqueline is. It just sounds like some person. I don't know who Maria Kanellis is. Kelly, Carmella. I don't know any of these people. So I guess, Mike, Jacqueline is going to be my answer.
Jacqueline is incorrect.
No shit.
Yeah. Harry, I will allow you to attempt to steal for 8 points.
To be honest, Mike, I don't know who this is because I know who has, but then there's this couple that I'm just like, I'm not sure of who it is. If I don't get this, no points are awarded, right?
No points are awarded, correct.
Okay, so I know Medusa's won the Cruiserweight title in WCW. Trish Stratus is funny. I'm trying to think what title would she have won. But then there's like her, Kelly, Terry Reynolds, Lita. They could have all been recipients of like the WWE Hardcore title, which was 24/7, and that could have passed along between any of them. That's how Godfather So has the title. But Maria Kanellis could also be in that bucket too. Carmella, gosh. She was, I think, the original, like, the Diva Search runner-up. I don't think she was there that long. You know what? Let's go with Carmella. Just because of lack of longevity.
Okay. Wasn't Terry Reynolds. She was a hardcore champion. It wasn't Carmella. She was a 24/7 champion. Wasn't Maria Kanellis, also 24/7 champion.
Was it Trish? Damn.
It wasn't Medusa, 24/7 champion in WCW Cruiserweight. Wasn't one of Godfather's hoes, as you all pointed out. She was a hardcore champion. It was Lita. because Jacqueline won the WWF Cruiserweight title, Kelly Kelly the 24/7, and Trish Stratus had a small hardcore title run. So we stay at 27-19 right
I would like to interrupt this broadcast to let the viewers know that Bare Knuckle Brennan has hung himself in the locker room and will not be making any more appearances.
Loosen him up. Get him back out here.
Don't I win the title by default then?
Yeah.
God damn it. I need a main event at VerbaMania. All right.
My
Last
God,
one.
Burlew.
We got one more here. Who has had the most recent match in the WWE at this list? Chris Benoit, Tatanka, Psycho Sid, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Crush, a.k.a. Brian Adams, Brooklyn Brawler, Spike Dudley, Hulk Hogan, Scotty 2 Hotty, or Vader. Scott?
Crush's name is Brian Adams. Like, everything I do it for you.
Like that? Not him.
Oh.
So, Scott, as you are behind, you have the option to give me your opening bid.
All right. What would get me the most points? Can I just try to answer?
Bidding 10 and guessing.
I'm going to bid 10 and guess.
Okay.
And I'm going right off my gut. Originally, I was going to say Hulk Hogan because I know he's always around. I'm going to go with my brethren here. I'm going with Scotty 2 Hotty as my guess.
Scotty 2 Hotty is incorrect. I will.
Like I said, I'm going with Hulk Hogan as my guess.
I'm going to pass it over to Harry for a possible 9 points. Harry, what is your guess?
Ooh, these are all good. Well, except for one of them for obvious reasons.
They're not good. They're horrible. And I hope your family does what Chris Benoit does to you.
You know,
I said it.
You certainly did. You know, I'm going to pick Tatanka for this one. He had a weird run there at the end. I don't know if that beats out, because recent match could just be a one and done. So I'm going to say Tatanka. I mean, I like Jim Duggan too, but I think Tatanka's got to be, I think that's got to be the answer.
Okay. Wasn't Brian Adams, 2001. Wasn't Spike Dudley, 2005. Chris Benoit, 2007. Wonder what happened to him. It wasn't Hulk Hogan, 2012. Wasn't Vader, 2012. Wasn't Psycho Sid, 2012. It was Tatanka.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you, Harry? Tatanka's still around?
He was in the Battle Royal and WrestleMania in 2015.
2015? That's not that long ago. Jesus.
I know. Well, sometimes they do these one-offs, and that was his one-off.
I want to do a one-off right now. And
he recently appeared on the last episode of Dark Side of the Ring that focused on Ludwig Borga. So he is in that episode.
Yeah. And Ludwig Borga was a pretty racist guy, in case you're wondering. So
he's a racist guy?
Yeah, he had anti-Semitic or anti-Semite tattoos on his body, they found out. So.
Oh, good. Great.
All right.
Awesome.
So right now we're at a point, it's 36-15 right now.
So remember when you designed this game, you're like, I think you have a chance.
I did think that. No.
You gave me 10 options of 9 people. I don't know who they are. And you said I have a chance.
I tell you what, Scott, I got to get this.
And you bring on this wrestling autistic man that knows everything. You should have brought Dom on and it would have been a more fair competition.
Yeah.
Mike's adjusting the game on the fly.
Yeah, it's 37-19. So here's what I'm going to try to do, Scott, before we get to the final round, since you're...
I thought you were my manager. You were supposed to manage me.
I thought better of you. I was wrong. Sorry.
Never think better of me. Never. Always think worse. Way worse.
I'm going to give you these items here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to get you a couple points here. And I'm going to say 5 points for these questions solely for you. Now, I can't make it too easy, but at least you have options to try to get some points before the final round, which is the bidding round. So you might have a chance, if you get a couple points, to outbid and get correct. Okay.
Am I like, is just the Make-A-Wish portion where I get a couple charity points?
Yep. Well, we got
some John Cena points.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott, the difference here is honestly, I'm the John Cena at this point for the points that you're getting.
All right.
Okay,
Scott.
given to me. Let's hear it.
All right. The WWE has been known to reuse theme songs. Kurt Angle's was originally Dale Wilkes' The Patriot. Real American was the U.S. Express before it was Hulk Hogan's. Brock Lesnar music was actually created for this XFL team. Is it the Birmingham Thunderbolts, the Chicago Enforcers, the New York, New Jersey Hitman, the Orlando Rage, or the Las Vegas Outlaws?
Oh, I mean, this is such an easy question. One, I gotta remember who all those great teams were. So, clearly, can you give me the options again? I just gotta, I know the database of those teams. Okay. I just need to.
Yeah. Birmingham, Chicago, New York, Orlando, or Las Vegas. Let's make it easier. I'll just name the cities.
Oh, well, since I feel like a big number 2 in this game, I'll just go with number 2.
Chicago Enforcers. That's correct, Scott.
Oh, my God.
It was the walkout
Chicago Enforcers.
Theme for the Chicago Enforcers. So I'm giving you 5 points.
Oh, my goodness.
Get
Thank
this
you,
game
John
a little
Cena.
closer to 37 to 24. I'm going to give you one more 5-point question to nudge you even a little closer to that.
Wow.
I can't give you multiple choice because this was going to be the tiebreaker question, but I feel like you're not going to tie in this scenario. But
I'm going to tie something tight around my neck.
All right. So this 80s and 90s television show used the names of 2 famous wrestling families for their names. So basically, the main family was named after one wrestler, and the neighbors were named after another wrestler. It's an 80s, 90s sitcom. Name it.
I mean, the only sitcom I think of when you like 80s, 90s. I don't know if it was in the 80s, but just gotta go with Family Matters.
No, there's no wrestler named Winslow's or Urkel.
Do I get a chance at this, or
you can answer the question, but you can't get the points for it?
Well, the first one I thought about was the Bundys with Married with Children, and the other one I was going to go with was the Hogan family.
It was Married with Children. The Bundys were named after King Kong Bundy. The Rhodes family was named after Dusty Rhodes, the neighbors. So, okay. So
we're going to pause real quick. I got to pee.
All right.
I'm not coming back.
All right, gentlemen.
I'm back from peeing. I did come back. I sat there and prayed in front of the toilet and said, do you just shove your head in and just not come back out? Or do you give this one last shot to see if you can pull an upset out of nowhere?
Well, you can do it, Scott. I have faith in you. God,
I really, when I lose this game, I don't want you as my manager. You did not push me along the way. You helped me in one individual round. You were nowhere to be found when I was in the trenches of 10 options.
You are my champion. You should be able to do this on your own, damn it.
This is when Dom gave me the game. He's like, yeah, it's like 20 episodes where you say that, like, you didn't help me here, Burlow. And you know what? As my podcast partner, I thought you would be in my corner more, and I'm very disappointed in you.
Well,
and the fireworks are going to be going off. I'm going to DDT your ass at the end of this thing.
All right. Well, this last round, you can pull it through. All right. I'm going to give a final question. I'm going to need both of you to send me a bid for this question. So Harry has 37 points. Scott has 24. Either message me directly on here or text me a bid for this. Because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to ask a question, and the category is WrestleMania main events. If you are the closest, the answer is going to be a number. If you're the closest without going over, you win the points. If you get the direct correct answer, I'll double your bid. And the other one will lose points.
Okay. What do I have? 24?
You have 24.
Oh, God. Oh, right in my wheelhouse. WrestleMania main events.
I have a 37.
Correct.
I have 37. Is that how many points I have? I have so many points. I don't know what to do with them. What do I do with all these points? Oh, oops.
You give it to charity.
Oh, I knew 10 wrestlers, female wrestlers, that won men's titles over 50 years of wrestling.
Okay.
Okay.
I got both your bids.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is, your final question.
Yeah.
This is upcoming WrestleMania will be the 41st WrestleMania.
Wow.
We've been going for a while on this, and as you all know, the main event is the last match of the night.
Oh.
Now, WrestleMania's been going for so long, we've lost some people along the way. So here's the question. How many WrestleMania main events involved a wrestler that as this date is now deceased?
So, out of all 41, how many people are dead?
Yeah, so let me give you a softball one. So, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant is deceased. That counts as one. How many main events involves at least one person in the main event being dead? Just the wrestlers. No managers, no referees, no announcers, nothing like that. Just what the main event wrestling match is.
I don't like this. Look, Harry's literally going through main events he's literally going from 1 to 41 right now, rattling them off, going dead, alive, main event.
Just I guess write it down or something, or
do I text it to you?
No. Yeah, text it to me, your answer.
Okay. I'm just gonna pick a random number here.
52.
Okay. I'm right now. Yeah. I got this. It's so easy. I just went through all the main events in my head, and it was like, this guy's dead. This guy's dead. Whatever. So easy. Easy question. I was just letting Harry feel like he knew everything. I don't like his thinking face.
Yeah. I'll give him one more minute to send me his answer.
Harry, I would like to remind you that this is an audio podcast, so as you look at the ceiling, it doesn't help your thinking.
Should I just come with erotic fan fiction while we're waiting, Scott?
Yeah, do one about Hulk Hogan. Is Harry there?
Then I dropped my pants and he gave me the leg drop.
Is Harry
I was trying to go through the whole thing, but it's like, that's a lot. Yeah, because the main event. Yeah, all right.
All right, so I have both your answers. So let me go through the list with all of you. WrestleMania 1, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper. Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper are deceased. That's one.
Ooh, that's good for me. That's two.
WrestleMania 2, Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy. King Kong Bundy has been deceased. WrestleMania 3, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant is now deceased.
So are we going to go through 40?
I don't think there's that many, Scott.
No, I mean 40
I'm going through all the ones that have a deceased member
in
the match.
Okay.
Tune in next week. Merlu goes, there's the final 20. All right, where were we? Okay. WrestleMania 4, Randy Savage versus Ted DiBiase.
We'll just release part 2 of you going WrestleMania 8.
Randy Savage is now deceased. WrestleMania 5, Hulk Hogan versus Randy Savage. Randy Savage is deceased. WrestleMania 6, The Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. The Ultimate Warrior is deceased. WrestleMania 8. So WrestleMania 7 is the first one that doesn't have both one of the members dead, out of curiosity.
VerbaMania. One man deceased.
WrestleMania 8, Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice. Psycho Sid passed away.
Rest in peace, Sid, former guest.
WrestleMania 9, Hogan versus Yokozuna. Yokozuna passed away. WrestleMania 10, Bret Hart versus Yokozuna. Yokozuna passed away. WrestleMania 11, Lawrence Taylor versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Bam Bam Bigelow is deceased. WrestleMania 13, Undertaker versus Psycho Sid. Psycho Sid is deceased. And finally, WrestleMania 20, Chris Benoit versus Triple H versus Shawn Michaels. Chris Benoit is now deceased. So, 12 WrestleManias were deceased, 13 members.
No. Oops.
Honestly, Burlu, I only counted individual people. I didn't count main events. I may have heard the question wrong, but it's fine.
Okay. Well, I'll put it this way. You're not in a lot of trouble right now, Harry, because you gave me a guess of 7, which is under the number. Scott thought there was a lot of murder and suicide in wrestling because he guessed 29 main events have a deceased member.
I would also like to say that I tried to cheat on that question, and that is why you don't use AI, because they gave me 30. So I didn't want to get the exact answer, and it told me 31 WrestleMania events that involved a wrestler who is now deceased.
All right. So basically with bid, so Harry, you bid 12, which brings your score to 49. Scott, you bid every single point. So this hour-long game produced 0 points for Scott Brennan. And Scott, I'm afraid your world record streak continues after tonight of losing games.
Harry, congratulations on a game of a thing that you know everything about against an opponent. This is like John Cena versus the Make-A-Wish kids in a match. This is just not.
This is John Cena versus Chris Benoit now.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. First off, Harry, congratulations and thank you for joining the show and being a good sport here. Mike, you're the one I have the bone to pick with here.
Okay.
Harry just came on and did his thing. He knows this. He competed. He even tried to give me chances. You, my manager, my co-host, my friend, you just sent me out onto an island by myself to get destroyed and gang raped by Hong Kong Harry or whatever his name is. I am so mad at you tonight that you know what? I'm bringing you two on for some game on a topic you know nothing about. I'm going to do like bands and music and things like that and see what happens to you two and see how you feel. And I'm going to give you 37 options per question. I'm going to say this band had played a 1967 Stratocaster. Can you tell me who it is? And give you 400 options and see what happens. You are not my manager. I'm turning on you, and I am now siding with Hong Kong Harry or whatever his name was.
Hong Kong, damn it.
You're out.
You loser.
You took advantage of Bare Knuckle Brennan. You took him for his looks and his charisma, and you took advantage of him. You didn't want him to win a championship.
I mean, yeah, this is the moment where like the fans are going nuts, and Harry's leaving the ring with the belt, and Bare Knuckle Brennan I just like grab his hand and just start pointing a finger, and then you give me that bare knuckle, and I drop to the ground, and everybody cheers as we go off on VerbaMania.
You got blood all over your face. I go over and raise Harry's hand. We're in the ring, clapping together.
And then he carries you out like Miss Elizabeth and Macho Man, right on his shoulder.
This is just, I don't know. I think I need to hire new friends. I need a new Harry. You want to be the new co-host? Mike is just not. He's just not a nice man.
Just let me know which day to keep free, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Wow. I guess that brings us to the end. Now,
mercifully.
Yeah, the end. So I guess that's it. Harry, real quick, what is it about wrestling that keeps you coming back? Like, why is it like some people give it up like at a certain age, and you just keep like the knowledge and the fun of it? Like, why do you keep diving back in?
For me, the beauty of wrestling is it's something for a couple hours a week. You can go watch, you can go get yourself lost in, and you forget what's going on, in your day-to-day life, in the outside world.
In your house, your marriage. You just put it all away to watch Raw.
Yeah, well, they lock them in the closet.
Yeah. Yes.
But it's that time where you can just get lost into a story. Like if you're just kind of like reading a great book or you're watching like a great movie and you don't care about who's injured, what's going on behind the scenes. You're just like, let me see this thing play out. And it comes to your house for 2 to 3 hours a week. And you just get to enjoy yourself for that short period of time. And it can take you through all the wonders, like the highs, the lows. And, sometimes some of those special moments that happen just keep bringing you back in over and over and over. For me, I had a bit of a gap watching wrestling, but when I was watching Cody Rhodes, his ascent to the championship, especially the WrestleMania 40 main event, you could just get lost in what happened there and just feel the emotion of the crowd, Cody winning the title, everyone who was, congratulating him, celebrating him in the ring. Those are moments you can get lost in. That's what always keeps bringing me back in.
Mike, how about you?
It's just the storylines are still pretty good with wrestling. The athleticism, like they're hitting possibly harder than they did back in the day when they were trying to make everybody think it was real. It's just an easy, mind-numbing kind of sit back, relax kind of entertainment that whether it's good or bad, you can still sit back and have a conversation with people and know that you're going to get something new sometimes within a couple of days and all with the next show and the next event, the next federation. So it's still fun. I enjoy it. And yeah, you should have known more than you did, Scott. I don't know.
So I have a quick counterpunch here. So I have the WrestleMania 41 card coming up here. Let's see. Let's put a little wager between the two of you real quick. Okay. Ooh. I think whoever loses this, okay, should have to come dressed as a wrestler to the next game that we play. I think one of you has to either, face paint or something. Something's got to happen here. I think it's a proper loss. I'm just going to run through the card, and you're going to tell me your predictions for WrestleMania, and whoever hits more, okay, is going. Who is the winner of the competition. We could decide on the payoff at the end, but I thought it would be really fun to play the next game, which might be like Halloween, but one of you is dressed as Bret the Hitman Hart. That's just funny to me. So,
Luce Ferratu dressed up as Rowdy Piper.
We'll figure it out, or there'll be no. Or we'll figure out the consequence later. But here we go. I'm going to go through each match. I don't even know if this is, you guys tell me if this is not on the card or something like that. But real quick, here we go. Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Harry, who you got?
Weirdly, I think this is El Grande Americano's match to win. I will pick El Grande Americano.
Mike.
Uh, I'm gonna differ. I'm gonna say Rey Mysterio is gonna take this one.
Okay, already we have someone losing here. All right, Jade Cargill, because I know her, she's a wrestler, guys, versus Naomi. Mike.
I'm gonna say Naomi. I think they're gonna build off of her.
Harry.
I agree. Naomi seems like who I picked to win this one, and I could see this going past WrestleMania.
Okay. Harry, Logan Paul versus AJ Styles.
There's a reason they call him the phenomenal one. I'm taking AJ Styles here.
Mike.
I'm going Logan Paul. I know AJ's on his end of his career, and that's going to mean more to keep Logan's heat going.
All right. So we got some differences here. Okay. A WWE Intercontinental Championship match. Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor. Okay. Yeah. Finn Balor. Is that what you say?
Yeah, Finn Balor.
Okay. All right, Mike.
I'm going for the super upset. I'm going to say Dominic Mysterio. I think that's the best way to build his heel character.
All right, Harry.
I don't bet against the Steiner, so I will go Braun Breaker here.
Okay. WWE Women's Tag Championship. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus to be announced. What the hell does that mean?
They're having a number one contender match.
Oh. Mike?
I'm going to say with Liv and Raquel.
Same.
Okay. Oh, that's a tag. Okay. WWE United States Championship match. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. Harry.
First.
Jacob Fatu all day, every day.
Mike.
Same. They're building on him.
All right. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. I saw that Charlotte Flair girl. She looks like a wax museum figure. She is atrocious looking. I don't know how you guys watch that.
A lot of work there.
Mike.
I'm going to say Tiffany keeps it. She doesn't need to strap Charlotte.
Same. I think Tiffany wins this out and moves on.
All right. Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley. I don't know. Whoever. Harry.
I like all three, but man, there's just something special about Rhea Ripley, so I'm going Ripley all the way.
Mike? Bianca Belair. I think they're doing full heel turn on her, so.
Okay. Gunther. What a lame name. Gunther versus Jey Uso. Oh, I know that guy. That guy's the lamest guy in wrestling. That's the fat yeet guy.
Yep.
I watched WrestleMania last year because there was like nothing on. I was like, check this out. I don't get it. He was like really, really boring in the ring, and he just pumped his hands every 2 seconds and just kept saying yeet. I'm totally out of the game, but I could not even if I watch wrestling, I could be like, oh, I understand like why someone's big. What's up with that dude?
He broke up from Roman Reigns, and that's where he got a lot of his crowd base, and they just loved yeet. In fact, they had to take it away because they realized somebody had a copyright to yeet, and then they noticed how his popularity was going down, so they got the copyright for yeet, and then he got way back up again.
Okay. I'm rooting against that guy. That's all I know. Mike, who you got?
I'm going to say they're going to put it on Jay.
Harry?
I like Jey Uso here. I think he does have like a weird charisma that resonates with the crowd, which is odd. And I think he gave some pretty passionate promos in the months before going up into Royal Rumble, and obviously in his time like breaking away from the Bloodline. So I'm gonna go Jey Uso.
Okay. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Harry.
Man, this is a difficult one because this could go either way. But you know what? I'm going to go John Cena here. Super Cena's going to eke this out somehow, some way.
Mike?
Yeah, I think the best way to do the farewell tour is give him the 17th strap and let him go out and leave watching the lights as he gives back the title so Cena wins.
All right. And then finally, Roman Reigns, CM Punk with Paul Heyman, it says, versus Seth Rollins. I guess Mike, yeah.
I'm going to go Seth, and I say Paul turns on both Roman and CM Punk and goes out with Seth.
And Harry.
I'm going to take CM Punk here. I think there's a lot of a lot of good momentum. I think the thing with Seth is just a red herring, so.
Oh. All right. Well, we just got to figure out where you guys differed, and that will determine who dresses up like a wrestler for a random podcast. You should have to do to tie it into the beginning. You should have to do no internet allowed. You have to dress like a wrestler from like going shopping and figuring out your costume. So we'll figure that out. So. That's it, guys. The marathon is over. If I feel you guys, I know I got a bad rub. My manager didn't support me. He's just not a good manager. That's what it comes down to. But other than that, we got a lot of fun stuff coming up. I want to thank Cazzy for coming on the show. Harry, thanks for joining us again for our stupidity. I know this is always these things always turn into marathons, but they are kind of fun. So.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Just want to thank you guys again for just letting me be a part of this, especially on this road to WrestleMania.
Yep. And Mike, good job coming. The game was great.
Thank you.
But I would almost rather like you and him compete, because that would have been really interesting. Like somehow if I can come up with a wrestling game for you two to play maybe next WrestleMania, but maybe I'll figure something out. But I feel like between the two of you guys know everything. It's insane. But Mike, that's it. Anything to promote before we go, or we just get out of here?
Will promote the third season of America's Most Wanted is coming back to Fox on April 21st. Former guests John and Callahan Walsh are hosting. We had them back on episode 234. They were amazing guests, and it's a classic show coming back to help authorities search for justice. So tune in America's Most Wanted and see if you can help solve a crime.
Arguably still my favorite guest on the podcast, possibly. So, and then I will just quickly promote our Substack newsletter. Each week we've been trying to put a little theme to it, do a little something different, give you guys a little content, a good laugh, a good little 2.5 minute read in the morning, while you're on the pod or something like that. And this week, Mike will be writing the Substack. He will give you 78 options of which wrestler which wrestler has, I don't know.
Yeah. I got options, Scott. Don't worry. I remember the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, so I have some depth in here.
Yeah. He'll give you 78 stories on different wrestlers. It'll be a 400-page Substack. So, other than that, guys, I hope you enjoy what we do here. We do something silly like this every once in a while, and it's what makes the show fun, guys. Life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the win at your back.
Hey, Scott, on Taboo Tuesday in 2004, Chris Jericho had to defend his IC title against a person the fans voted on. Can you name the 3 wrestlers who had the lowest amount of votes?
It was Grand, Ma, and then Titties.
Damn, you're good.